evening, party people, and welcome back to the bar with an X. My name is Cameron, and I'll be your bartender this evening. Welcome back to everybody. I see Kid already popping in with those little bitty things. It's the crying emoji. He's going to bed a little early tonight, but that's just totally fine. And a unicorn too, of all things. I just had a horn around here somewhere, and it appears that I've blown it away. So thank you, Kid. Thank you for all of that. So, y'all might be wondering why the heck we're here. It's the Dream Daddy. It's finally here. I've finally got cocktails that I'm willing to showcase everybody tonight. Amy Chow popping in too. Hello to everybody. This has been a long time in the making. It's been so long in the making that I've grown a beard in that time. It's not a very magnificent beard. It's actually more of a squirrel upon my chin. I think I once told a story about this particular chin beard, and it's back only for this because I've just felt the need to channel my inner daddy if we were going to try to make cocktails inspired by Dream Daddy as such. It just feels appropriate. I want to see you throw it again. Throw what again? The party horn? That was by accident. I didn't do that on purpose. Those are things that you just can't quite plan, Kid. But it's wonderful. So we're all here tonight to celebrate the beauty of the Dream Daddy. So if you in case y'all have missed it, over the past month or so, every week we've been going through and dating another dad, two dads every single week, except for earlier this week. We were actually over in Florida, so we were doing Disney hopping stuff. And I tried a mobile stream for the first time. I brought a little friend home with us. This is cute. This is Danya. She's the Bar with an X's first tiki mug. I'm very happy about that. And Danya will be sitting back here, gazing upon the world around us, ever worryingly, wondering what the heck is going on and what will continue to be going on for the duration of the evening at the very least. So it was Dream Daddy, right? We've been playing through Dream Daddy. We've dated all the dads. We've gotten through all the dates. I got that achievement that says that you've dated all the dads, or you've gone on the dates with all the dads. I didn't do particularly well for all of them, but we did make at least a little bit. Kid, you're too kind. Now I will say, the rule is for every celebration, there is a party horn. So you've been abusing your privileges a little bit here, but I'm a man of my word. But so there's 7 dads in the Dream Daddy game, and every single one of them has their own quirk, their own set of children, their own set of past partners or otherwise, and their own stories that go along with them. We've pulled from the different experiences that we've had over the past couple little bits or so, a couple of weeks or so, and formed them into concepts that have later become drinks that we'll be able to libate, drink, ingest, or otherwise. What I like to do here at the Bar with an X is jump into the games themselves, get a feel for what the characters are like, what their lives are living, the different items, plot points, concepts, and otherwise. And so that what we did recently with Dream Daddy was do exactly that. We quite literally, at least in some cases, became one with some of the daddies. Not all of them, and dare I say, I think the only ones that we actually did engage in coitus with did not end well for all of us. That was Joseph and Craig. And I didn't get either of their endings, which I think is ridiculous, because that seems like the happy ending to me, but to each their own. And this show is not necessarily about sexual intercourse. It's about cocktails. Cocktails. You need to stop speaking off camera. It's hilarious. Cocktails are hilarious. Another cheer. Well, see, Kid, now you broke it. That's just how it is around here.
I think that's your fault, not Kid's fault.
In any case, we proceed in with things. So we've dated all the dads. We've come up with some concepts for them, and I hope that I hope at the very least that this is a nice opportunity to be able to share at least my perspective on the game and all the different characters that we found, all the different daddies, all the Dream Daddies. So let's proceed right into it. Before I actually move on with the drink side of things, as we do around here, because we naturally do playthroughs, there will of course be a next playthrough, and I want to first announce what the next playthrough will be at the bar for Cameron with an X, for the Bar with an X. And the corresponding consequence is that when we do the playthrough, there will be drinks inspired by the characters from that playthrough. It looks like my dearest is trying to find something. I don't know why she's looking over there.
I was like, oh, I'm just gonna throw shit at you. Nope.
She's trying to find things to do.
Already have it.
What is this? Oh, don't throw that blow tickler away. It sounds like a goose laughing so hard it can't breathe. Oh, don't worry, Ula. There are plenty more of these things. I love those things. They're beautiful. These are my buddies. This is Sans, a little wooden carving of Sans. This is my little buddy Papyrus. These are actually little wood carvings that I made back in the year 2016 when I was still in high school. And I love these little guys. They have followed me out throughout at least the past, what was it, 2016, 2023 now? I have to pull out another freaking party horn. See? They get even better around here, Ula. But so the bar with an X is Our next playthrough is going to be Undertale. I love this game so much. My plan is to do a total genocide run and a total true pacifist run, and then see what we find along the way. So, in ushering in this new segment, this new journey, put these little guys up here. There we go. Papyrus gets to hang with the bourbon. He strikes me as a bourbon individual. Sans, you'll go down here. These guys don't want to stay up very well on their own, but I'm anticipating to secure them a little bit better. Kid, you are mad with power. That's the last one you get. Not unless you up that to 2 bits. I'm gonna start gamifying things around here. I want to make money. That's what I want. I want money. Not because I want to spend it on expenses, but because I want to spend it on alcohol so that I can buy new things. Actually, you know what? I don't want to spend it. I don't want to spend it on bottles of alcohol. I want to spend it on one of those cool little portable distilling machines that are technically illegal in the United States because you can't distill at home. That's illegal. And that's 2 bits, and I'm a man of my word. Dream Daddy, y'all. Let's jump into Dream Daddy cocktails. Wait, what is...
What about making mead? Is that illegal?
Making mead? No, making mead is not distilling. So you can make mead. That's fermenting. Distilling is where you take things up to higher, much more potent alcoholic levels.
And that's illegal.
That's technically illegal. At-home distilling, at least to my understanding, is technically illegal in the United States. You're not allowed to do that. But I've seen machines pop up on the internet saying that you quite literally put things in a thing and it distills it out. So exactly what the legal repercussions is, we're going to hand that off to the lawyers with X's. Because you sign next to the X on the dotted line.
You have a lawyer with an X.
Why do you have to give away the secrets? You're under NDA. You're not supposed to share those types of information.
No NDA.
There's no contracts around here. Let's move on. The first cocktail of this evening as we proceed into our first segment is for the first dad that we dated. A dad named Brian. Brian is a Stockley fellow who loves those awesome like Hawaiian shirts with the little green on them. I really should have queued up photos of each and every one of these dads, but I didn't wind up doing so. I've been really good with my short-term content later, so if you want to see a picture of Brian, it's here. Editor me is gonna do that. Just kidding. Maybe. Whatever. My great aunt used to make porch wine that would disappear a long weekend, says Ula. Dude, I love the porch wine. I like the idea of that. I suppose you could just like, I mean, technically you can ferment anything you want to. You can make your meads, you can make your wines, you can make your beers or otherwise. That's totally fine. Can't wait for the toilet wine stream when Cameron's lawyer fails him. Toilet wine? Kid, if you want to throw out more bits so we can purchase a porcelain toilet, I will do it. I will do it. If the people ask, the people will receive. So Brian has a daughter named Daisy. It's beautiful. My beautiful daughter Daisy. I love this stuff. That's Brian for you. When we dated Brian, we found ourselves upon a couple of different pieces of journey. We went to the golf course with him and his daughter. We went to a little pirate bar with just him alone. We went out fishing where I think I had a nightmare starring Brian specifically. Ula, oh my goodness, with the 100? That's going into the toilet fund. We don't talk about Prunio. No. Who's Prunio? Oh, prunes in the toilet? Oh, Imi Chow. I don't like the idea of that. Oh, goodness gracious. Diarrhea. But beautiful, beautiful thoughts. Significantly not relating to feces. Brian, along our journey with Brian, we found ourselves inside of a sort of like tiki bar-esque place. And actually, I managed to get Danya at the first tiki bar that I've ever actually been to, which was Trader Sam's over in the Polynesian Resort in and around Walt Disney World. And we had some really, really awesome cocktails there. Oddly enough, when I was upstairs at the Polynesian, I got a drink that was served in a pineapple. I did not get inspiration from that. I got a couple of ideas from that, but I actually planned out the concept of this drink here before I even went to that bar. So when I saw that, I just felt like completely validated. I thought, wow, I'm doing things that the bars in Disney World are doing. And I felt really, really good about that. This one's for Imi Chow. That one's for me. And technically for Kid, because I'm a man of my word. So essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to do the exact same thing that I saw done at the Disney Resort. Again, I came up with it first before going. So I'm only doing it. It's only attributed to them because they technically did it first, but I came up with it on my own. But technically I didn't even come up with it on my own. It was described in the Dream Daddy game when they said that this drink was built in and served out of a pineapple. So we're going to try to see whether that works for us. Ingredient number 1 in this is pineapple juice. I don't have any cans of pineapple juice. But you know what I do have? I have a juicer. We got this sometime before our wedding happened, and I've used it many times off stream, but I don't think I've ever used this thing on stream before. Oh, I dropped one of my filters. Oh my god, plug in, damn you. There we go. Put this thing back. We're bringing out the big guns. Disney lawyers versus Cameron's lawyers versus SpongeBob lawyers. I'm technically my own lawyer. I have ChatGPT to look at my contracts for me, right? That's how that works. So these are the bar with an X's, or rather the with an X households juicer. It spins really, really fast. You put shit into the top, and then it makes juice out the other side. So that's a piece of the puzzle here. The other piece of the puzzle is the actual pineapple itself. So the first part of this drink, and I actually have an extensive set of notes over here, so let me just make sure that I'm doing things correctly and in the right order. Cut, core, juice, fill ice, build drink, garnish head. Okay. That makes sense there. So the first thing we have to do is actually cut this pineapple open. So before we even get to the juicing part, let me make a little bit of space on our bar. Putting you off to the side because I feel like you're going to come up again. Let me move you a little bit. A nice stable surface is beneficial for this juicing machine. Oh, sorry guys. Pineapple just does its thing. This is actually kind of broken, so in case there are chunks of pineapple that get like thrown out, it's gonna come towards me, not you guys, because I value this camera very much so. Let's grab a cutting board. We're gonna chop this pineapple's head off. This is not the first time we've done this on this stream, but it's kind of fun to do anyway, so it's hilarious. Get this little guy off. I'll put you over here. Step 1. Decapitate your pineapple. It's actually not super difficult to do. There we go. Now that you have a pineapple head, do not discard the head. We're going to keep the head. We keep all the head that we can get around here. Head's kind of hard to come by. Yeah, I meant what I said. Next thing we have to do is we have to core the pineapple. You can buy you can buy plastic pineapple corers on the internet, but I've been told specifically not to get those because they don't deal very well. They break easily. This one's made of like aluminum or something, and apparently the little bits from last time didn't actually come off, but that's just how things are. You essentially just take this, you put it so that it's in line with the center, the core of your pineapple, and then you twist. Kind of get it started a little bit, and just kind of go for it. I'm trying to keep it parallel to the sides of the pineapple. I don't really want to breach the sides of the pineapple because we're going to be putting liquid in this, and if we put liquid in the pineapple that's broken, and I really hope I don't screw this up because I only have one pineapple, then we're going to have liquid getting everywhere, and then it's going to be awkward because I have to take the duct tape out and then duct tape a pineapple just so I can drink out of it. So I'm just trying to keep an idea of where this thing is inside of the pineapple. I'm kind of using my hand to adjust. This is not necessarily the best thing to do because this thing is sharp. It is a blade, so just be very careful if you're doing this on your lonesome. Also acknowledge there is pineapple juice coming out of this thing. We're not necessarily going to use that pineapple juice, but we'll use other parts of it. This is a juicer. We're going to put the pineapple stuff inside of it. That's how that works. I can feel it around here right now. It's not a long and arduous process. It just takes time and patience. And if we do this right, we really don't need to go that deep into the pineapple, but I'm trying to get the most out of the thing over here. And what you can do afterwards, after you're done with this container, you can cut it up, put it in some water with a bit of brown sugar and vanilla and other stuff, and you can make tepache out of it because it will start fermenting on its own, and tepache is just delicious. It can have a weird smell to it, but at least according to other brewers forums, it's not unsafe to drink, and that's fine by me. And shake it up in the coconut, lime in the no. Brian's kind of a handy dad. Thought he'd appreciate the duct tape. I mean, if the duct tape is required, we will utilize the duct tape. So let me get a fancy glass around here that is the right size for my juicer. Will this work? Is this too tall? That's too tall. It's too bombastic a glass. Let's try. What else we got? I got this Stein. Yeah, that'll work. We'll put it in a Stein. There we go. That'll work. That'll work. That'll work. Great. This is a little rickety thing here. So the idea here is I'm going to now take this out, and I'm trying to do this all sanely and safely and otherwise without hurting anybody. It's going to be a lot of juice. I'm going to try to keep the juice inside of the pineapple. I'm gonna take these out and cut it up into pieces, and then slowly but surely I'm gonna add it to our juicer. This is going to get loud, and I really don't want to destroy anybody's ears, so I'm actually going to turn the microphone gain all the way down for this thing while it's actually functioning. I have markers on here such that I can turn it back to normal levels. It's actually kind of cool that I can do that with this microphone. So let's go for it. After you've cored your pineapple, you gotta squeeze it out. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, that's perfect. I got that. You can just kind of cut off the sides. They'll come off very, very easily. There we go. One side to the other. You got perfectly good pineapple. Perfectly good pineapple. Very good. Let's get you out of there. Come on. There we go. Now the other part of this, I'm done with my corer now. I don't want my corer anymore. I do want to take out the core of this pineapple. I don't know if you can see all in there, but there's a bit of juice. Let's pour that out. There we go. And I want to kind of try to remove this core as best as I possibly can. It's a little difficult to do given the tools that I have available. Again, please don't hurt yourself if you're doing this at home. There's definitely a better technique that exists out there, but I'm not aware of it. So I'm just going to try to take as much of this thing out as I possibly can, cutting away from myself and trying my damnedest to crack this core. This is kind of hard. The last time it actually did work in the juicer, but I got a lot of bits, and I'm not going to do that this time because I had to really clean out the juicer. It didn't work very well. All right, almost there, almost there. Kind of got to go in and get creative with it. Always cut away from yourself. Always cut away from yourself. I've got a pineapple in between my fingers, but this could go wrong at any moment, so just be careful. Keep those cameras ready, kids. Just put my hand in there. Come on. Oh, there we go. Very tentative. It's gonna go in a container for later. The question is, what container? This one. I have a container off screen because it's got extra limes and stuff in it. It's going behind the fruit basket. Behind the fruit basket, there is not a basket, just a little plastic container of fruit. Cam thought of you this weekend. Cam thought of me. Oh, I had a Martinez. Oh, you had a Martinez. I've never had a Martinez, kid. Are you even old enough to be drinking? I gotta stop asking that question. Old Tom Gin, Carpano Antica, Vermouth, Maraschino, Angostura Bitters. Ooh, a Martinez is great. Old Tom Gin is traditionally more sweet than other gins out there. And I actually had my first sample of an Old Tom Gin when I was around at Reading Terminal Market over here at the Philadelphia Distillers booth. Great stuff, great stuff. I see Willpower popping in too. You're just in time for the juicing of the pineapple. Inspired by Brian from Dream Daddy. We have a fully cored pineapple. We have the head of the fully cored pineapple. The only other thing that I want to do to this before I do the juicing is I want to be considerate of how I'm going to drink this thing. I'm going to take my knife and cut a divot into the side of the pineapple. I don't need a big one. I just need space enough for my little thingies. And let me get a container over here that I can put my pineapple scraps into. Because as I mentioned before, you can take pineapple scraps and turn them into tepache. So actually, I'm going to utilize this container for all my scraps. All my pineapple scraps specifically. We'll go next to the bucket, not to get confused with Taylor the Bucket. Old Tom Gin is allegedly illegal, according to my lawyer. It's the origin of the martini. The origin of the martini, I believe you're correct in saying that the Martinez came before the martini. However, history is weird. History is very weird. So let's take our pineapple container, kind of get as much juice out of it as we possibly can, and conduct this over here. I'm going to turn the microphone down very, very low so that nobody's ears are completely blasted. So if I forget to turn this back up, please somebody let me know. I will forget. We're on the lowest possible volume, and I'm moving the microphone this way. There you go, over there. Let's turn this bag on. And then put in some pineapple. Oh yeah, dude. Oh man. I love this thing. We might need another glass. Oh. Oh no! Juicy! Juicy, juicy pineapple! That's it. Juiced. Hello, YouTube friends. Beautiful, beautiful cheers. Where's the freaking party horn? There's so many back here. That's two. That's two. That's two. Let's turn the microphone back up. You can actually hear what's going on. Bring you back over here. That's the juicer. This thing's a bulwark. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful machine. I love this thing so much. It's so useful. I'm gonna take this very dirty juicer and put it elsewhere. These scraps will be not disposed of, utilized for tapache. Oh, it's dripping! Oh my goodness. It's okay, it'll drip on the table. Oh, there's already a paper towel over here. This is so convenient. That's great. So we have pineapple juice. Fresh. This is as fresh as pineapple juice can get. Really? Ugh, bar's getting dirty. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, with pineapple juice too. Oh, one time a container of pineapple juice exploded while I was doing laundry in the living room area of our apartment. We are still cleaning it up. It was all over the walls. It was all over the ground. It was all over the toys. And the company was Libby. Libby's pineapple containers cannot take the power-packed force of a pineapple container that has been kept in a very warm cooler for at least a month unopened. I know that I'm the one responsible for that, but either way, I was bothered, very much so. Cheers, more pineapple! I had one at Disney! I did! And I got some ideas from there too. I learned some lessons from the folks at Disney. This is actually just enough pineapple for this glass. That is perfect! Oh my goodness. This is the juice and singular pineapple. So now that we have that taken care of, we're gonna conduct the next part of this. After we cut core juice, we fill up our pineapple with ice and we prepare our garnish. The garnish for this cocktail is going to be the head of the pineapple that's been kind of played around with in a certain way. So let's do that. Let's grab some ice. We're gonna fill it up with ice. We're gonna bring our pineapple up to temperature. Got quite a bit of ice over here. Oh my goodness, don't do that, Cameron. Pfft, silly, silly man. There's ice. Fill ice in a pineapple. If you didn't properly core this thing, you will have less room for liquid in this than I will. The measurements that I have up on the screen are according to the last pineapple that I had, which I believe was noticeably larger than this pineapple, but, you know, size doesn't really matter. Or does it? When it comes to pineapples, I mean. That's enough ice. I put like 5 cubes in there. That's all we need there. I've got chilled glasses prepared for the stream. You can literally hear them in there. Gotta go, says Imi Chow, but I'll check it out later. Thanks for popping in, Imi Chow. And Kid, I know you said you were getting beauty rest tonight. I thank you for sticking around. You'll learn something, I promise you will. Now let's take our pineapple head that we've got over here. We're just gonna deal it up a certain way for Brian. Brian has a beautiful orange beard. I figured that we could do a little orange garnish for him. He also wears those green, so call them Hawaiian shirts, so I got one of these little umbrellas that when you open them up, if this goes correctly, carefully, 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 there we go. There we go. Looks just like his shirt. Beautiful. And then, now that I got this, I got that, I don't have any wedges of pineapple left, and I'm not going to use those because they get weird and they attract flies. So I'm going to instead use a cherry that I have in the refrigerator. I got at least one of those around here somewhere. There we go. Let's prepare our garnish. We have an orange. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this orange and I'm going to cut it into small slices. Essentially, you don't have to be too specific with this. Actually, no, it's not that I want. Oh my goodness. Oh, bits. Kid. I'll make the little snowman and leave Cameron. Good night. Thank you so much, kid. Your contribution will go to the toilet that the bar with an X will eventually create toilet wine from. Somebody needs to hold me accountable to that because I'm going to forget. We're actually going to take this. We're not cutting it. I thought we were cutting it. I was wrong. We're not actually cutting it. We're going to peel it instead. I need my peeler from over here. I'm going to get a collection of peels from this guy after first washing off my little cutting board over here. I realize as I continue to work more with the bar with an X and the space that I have provided that I have a very small working space here. I have a rather small working space, but we work with what we have. There's the garbage over there. All right, we're going to take our orange. I'm just going to kind of first remove the sticker. Thank you, bud. And put that in a random location. I'm just going to take a couple of peels off of this guy. And we're going to arrange them in such a way. I've never done this garnish before, so if it doesn't work out super duper well, then that's okay. The whole point of being able to do this stuff at the bar with an X is so that we can explore techniques, see if they work, refine them a little bit, and learn how to be proper bartenders along the way. So I would say out there, if y'all are like mixologists or otherwise, or just even remotely into cocktail stuff, feel free to pop in for a spell, do that thing that you do where you become notified of a creator's stuff, and maybe we learn something together around here. So I've basically taken a couple of peels from this orange. I'm going to put that back in our fruits basket for when we need it later. And I'm going to bring the cocktail angle over here because I'm going to try to do this in such a way that it's going to look kind of spiky and almost beard-like. This might not actually work, but we're going to try our damnedest. So come over here, buddy. Cocktail angle. I'm going to try to get a nice view over here without completely destroying things. We have a great view of our pineapple. That's okay. That'll work. That'll work. Let's take the spot of the pineapple. And we're going to put you back over here, actually, and do this first. So I've lined up our little orange pieces. I'm just going to cut them in such a way that they're all kind of homogeneous and kind of looking like crescent moons. I'm going to grab a small paring knife for this. I've got at least one of those. Willpower said, ice, Cameron, make do with what you got. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the idea. I need to move this pineapple out of the way. Yeah. The bar gets cleaned. So let's do this. I'm going to try to make these all into crescent moon looking things. So I'm just going to do one slice down the side, one slice down the side, one slice down the side. Continue doing that. And then, there we go. We're going to take our little peels, put them off to the side. Those might become an oleo sacrum later. I might dehydrate those and turn them into a powdered form for garnishes later. There are a lot of things that you can do with food waste, and I personally am learning more and more things to do every single day. And then we're going to try to turn these into crescent moons as best as I possibly can. If I had more time, I'd probably focus more on this, but there are 7 cocktails to do. We're not even done with one yet. So there's one little crescent moon. Let's do another little crescent moon. There we go. Takes a little while. While we do this, anybody else ever see any really cool garnish stuff? I have a Pinterest now, and I try to, when I find garnish stuff, I'm not really on it that often, but I try to add garnish stuff on there. I've got my own little like private playlist on Instagram when I see really, really cool garnishes. I wind up tracking those. Lo and behold, the internet is a great place to grab inspiration for pretty much anything, and Pinterest especially. That's like their whole thing. People get paid to be like professional, like Pinterest curators. That's awesome. What a life to live. I love that. The life of a content curator, not creator, curator. We're almost done with that. Honestly, if I thought this was going to take this long, I probably would have prepared this ahead of time. But we've been spread a little thin around here at WithAnX Studios. So we make do with what we got. And in that spirit, we continue. Let me take all my orange scraps and I'll put them in a location with the other food scraps that will either be frozen for juice or turned otherwise. We have our little things here, and now all we gotta do is add this as a part of our garnish. So now that I have this all together, this is what we're gonna do with our garnish. I'm gonna grab a maraschino cherry. I'm gonna stab it with my umbrella. Grab a bar spoon for this. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. There we go. Got one of these. Bring that back later. Over here. We'll put this all together. Put this over here. Will says, girlfriend isn't doing well, but she's really enjoying your content while she lays down beside me watching the stream. Oh, thank you. Well, to Willpower's girlfriend out there, I know that there's not much that we can do here to make you feel better in a physical sense, but at the very least, if there's even a smirk of a smile on your face, I personally feel that I've done my job. So please lay back, enjoy yourself, hydrate, drink your water. That's my reminder to be doing it for myself. And all in all, good vibes. For situations like this, they're very, very important to me. I need to find the thingy. Where's my thing? Oh, there it is. Hold on. We got stuff for this. We got stuff for this. I'm teasing it, but it's good, I promise. Did I just knock the camera out of the way? Nah, it's fine. I may have knocked the camera a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm not a pharmaceutical drug, but I can do this, so be well out there. Good vibes, y'all. Always good vibes here from the bar with an X to your home. And I don't know why that wasn't back here, so here we are. Let's put our cherries away. Put that over here. Pop along in there. We're like, oh my god, we're like 30-something minutes into this. My goodness. Take your cherry. Slide it onto your garnish. We're going to take each one of our orange things and we're going to poke them down this way. This takes a little bit of patience. One. Let's do 2. Are you seeing that well? No, I got to put this a little over here. Sorry about that. Do this. Basically, we're stabbing the edge of all of them. If it kind of looks like this, you're doing it right. This, and if you poke yourself a little bit, I wouldn't say you're doing it right, but you're doing it. Another one. I'm gonna push this up just a tad to get some more space on there. And now, let's do this. There we go. And if you did everything correctly, and you followed the instructions, you can fan this out like this. So from this angle, it can look like this a little bit. This is a very bad angle. A very bad angle. How about that angle? How's that looking? You can't really tell from here, but I kind of looks like a beard. Oh, it looks like a beard from this angle. There we go. There we go. It was backwards. Do it again. The fan. There we go. Look at this thing. It's like a beard. There we go. It's like a beard. That's a good shot. That's a good shot. If you've done things correctly, it can look like this. It kind of looks like a little dude with a beard. I love that. Let me push that all the way up. And this is all about garnishing, right? So now let's take our pineapple head and we just kind of stab it onto it. Just gonna kind of just stab it right through. This is what I knew was going to be the hardest part. Let's do that. Oh, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. There we go. There we go. Well. That didn't work out as planned. That's okay. That's okay. You know what? We got it. We got it. It's a little... Looks better from the side. Looks better from the side. That's okay. It's the thought that counts. So we have a garnish little pineapple thing. That's great. Now I can put everything away. I can put this up here a little bit. This is the way that things are going to look. I don't need this cutting board at least anymore for a little bit. Let me just give it a little wipe down with the clean towel. This one over here. I love everything about this. Brad, how are you doing this evening? Welcome in, sir. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Brad, this is awesome. I got the email for the Tales of the Cocktail hotel bookings. I really want to go to this thing. I'm gonna try to make this work, man. I'm gonna try to make this work. All right, let's put this peeler away. I don't need that anymore. I don't need this paring knife anymore. Now we actually build the cocktail. What we have now is a pineapple that has been cored. There is ice all on the inside of it. That has actually had a bit to come up the temperature, probably void out a little bit of water. There, yeah, it was a lot of water in there. That warmed up considerably. I'm gonna add some more ice to this. It needs more ice. It really needs more ice. Let's go for it. So, the idea was to get the inside of this container as cold as possible to enhance the drinking experience. I added, wow, space for like 3 more ice cubes. I hope I still have enough ice cubes for everything else. Great. Okie dokie. So did I. Text me after so we can talk about this. Oh, yes, my sir. Absolutely. So this is the ingredients that you will place into your now prepared pineapple head and prepared pineapple container. First, you need 4 ounces of pineapple juice. This is a frothy pineapple juice. There's a lot of froth at the top. There's a bit less at the bottom. Honestly, just measure with your heart. And by your heart, I mean your local jigger. So I'm going to try to measure out 4 ounces of this. Here's 2. It's very frothy, but that's good. It's mostly froth at this point. Honestly, I'm going to keep it that. 4 ounces, or about 118 milliliters of pineapple froth. It's very frothy in there. This pineapple is noticeably smaller. I don't know whether or not we're actually going to be able to fit everything, but I'm going to try my damnedest to do so. Next, we need to add an ounce of Myer's rum, a dark rum, or equivalent. Single ounce of that. Hopefully this works out, and if not, that's okay, we'll make it work. Single ounce of rum. Of this rum, you're gonna take a single ounce or 30 milliliters of a Pusser's rum. I noticed that by splitting the rum base on this, I was able to get a nice combination of those notes that I expect from the Myers and the molassesy notes that I'm very, very much a fan of from the Pussers. Got a single ounce of that. I'm actually running out of space inside of this pineapple because of the divot that I made, so I think I'm gonna need to improvise a little bit. Next, it calls for a single ounce of cherry vodka. Wave. This is the only cherry vodka that I have. You could probably make a better one on your own, but here we are. There we go. Put that on top. I need another ounce of Amaretto, and I need some lime juice. And actually, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer this into another container and mix it in here, because apparently my pineapple is very small. The ratios are all going to stay the same, but then we're going to take the mixture and put it back in, measuring out appropriately. Here we go. This is the first time I'm doing this all together, so I appreciate everybody's patience. Cherry vodka is in our container. Next, we're going to add a full ounce of Amaretto. Amore. Amaretto. This is one of those drinks that you get at the tiki bar, and you're like, wow, the booze is prominent, and it just tastes sweet. And I feel like that's the way that Brian would have appreciated it. Then we need 1/4 ounce of lime juice. I've got some limes that I was keeping in my freezer. And so now I'm going to juice them all here. I just kind of put them all, for things like this, I just kind of put them all into my juicer, and I just go for it. So I need 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Will we actually get half a lime? Will we get 1/2 ounce of lime juice? That is the idea. We have about 1/4 ounce so far from these pre-frozen limes. We're about at like almost 1/2 ounce. Put this back into my scraps container for later and collect a couple more. I'm gonna grab 2 more. I'm feeling that 2 more is gonna be the one. Yeah, all right, that's 1/2 ounce. Oh, now it's a little over 1/2 ounce. That's okay. Your mileage may vary. Put that down here. And take your 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of lime juice and add that over here. My pineapple was a little too small for the job, so I'm putting this into a container over here. Usually, if you were trying to do something like this and your pineapple sizes do vary, you would pre-batch this first and then take that mixture and mix it right there. You'd usually have your juices in one container and your spirits in another container. You combine them together, and any extra that you have for this drink, you can just put into the next one. So now I'm just going to give this a stir because it feels necessary here. Then we add a float of 151 rum up on top. So let's try to see how much that we can actually add here. Any extra, that's okay. To our pineapple. All right, that's a good amount. There's a little bit left over. That'll be for, we can sip upon that later. Let's take this and put it in one of these containers, because I do have to use this stirring apparatus again. I need to clean that before we actually move on. Wasn't expecting that. This is how it is at the bar. Unexpected things happening. I'm not allowed to taste it just yet. Not just yet. So now that everybody is all nice and get to know each other, now we bring out the big guns. Let's take some 151 rum. Moving the microphone away from me just for a little bit. And I'm gonna take this rum and I'm gonna float just about half an ounce on top of it. Your mileage may vary with this as well. Depending on the thermodynamics of your pineapple, this is either going to light on fire successfully or not at all. So we're gonna try to see if we can set this on fire and extinguish it with the top over here. If it doesn't work out, doesn't work out. That's just where we are. And because this is in the beginning of the stream, if we really have a fire and things go bad, I guess we turn it off and try again later. 151 rum being floated over the top. I'm pouring it over one of the ice cubes, so as a means to make sure that this layers up on top. I am very acutely aware of the divot that I've made over here for my straw, and I don't want anything pouring out, because if anything does pour out, it's gonna be the 151. I'm not a fan with that. Alexa, turn off all the lights. Fire! There's a little bit of fire in there. Bring the cocktail and go back over. Come over here, buddy. We got some fire. We got some fire going. There we go. Hello there, buddy. Hello there, buddy. Got some fire going. Cool. The flaming pineapple! Oh! Alexa, turn on the bar lights. And now we can extinguish it with our pineapple. So, you can't tell, but I can still smell things smoking in there. But with enough air not being there, it will extinguish itself. I'm just gonna double check before I put any straws in there. Yep. The smoke clears. We put our straw in. And here we go. Brian's Pineapple of Hospitality. Something that you could buy at whatever the name of that pirate bar was in the game. Here we go. Let's go for the sip. Look at that. Mmm. You know, when I was workshopping this, I put way too much rum in here. I bought a Ray and Nephew 130 proof that didn't set on fire, and as I glugged and glugged and glugged and glugged, I was like, why isn't this thing lighting on fire? It wasn't high enough proof. So when I finally added the 151 and then it lit, I was like, there's way too much wine here. This is better balanced now. It is forward on those notes of cherry from the cherry vodka. It is accentuated by those sweet candy notes from the Amaretto, and all the rums that are going on, the rums and the sourness from the lime juice and the pineapple juice, it feels so tiki. It feels so tiki. And if you agitate this a little bit, when it's not on fire, you can incorporate some of that higher proof rum in there to really get a bit of a bite. The rums that I've included, the Goslings, the Myers, and the Pussers, are very forward on molasses note. It would complement very well rum if you were to put, or other types of rum, I guess, molasses, sugar, and stuff like that. It's literally made from molasses. This is... That's nice. It's a lot more forward on the cherry notes than I had previously. I wonder if it tastes a little bit differently now that we don't have the 151 on it. Here's the comparison. Oh yeah, there's more character. It's more rum heavy, obviously, on those sort of notes of like decadent sugar, decadent molasses. There's a bit of, it's like a, kind of a caramel. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. Caramelized pineapple a little bit, because there was quite literally fire on the inside of here. And I wonder if there wasn't really any singeing on the bottom of this. That's just how it be. So this is Brian's Pineapple of Hospitality. The first cocktail this evening made for Brian. What's his face? What is Brian's last name? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't have everybody's last names. I only remember Joseph's because I made a cocktail specifically named after him. Anyway, it's irrelevant. My fingers are covered in pineapple juice, and we have 6 more cocktails to do this evening. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup over here, both on myself and otherwise, but this is Brian's Pineapple of Hospitality. It's got some rum in there, it's got some cherry vodka in there, it's got some amaretto in there.
Brian Harding.
Harding! Thank you, my dearest. Pineapple of Hospitality. It's a cocktail served in a pineapple. You can do so much shit with this. It's so great.
The Which one's next?
Next, if I can have a mod pop in next while we clean up over here.
I got
It should be Robert. It should be Robert. I don't remember Robert's last
Small.
name. Robert Small. Robert Small. That's his name, Robert Small. Robert's Old Fashioned.
Did it work?
It did work. It absolutely did. My mods are able to help me out with this because lo and behold, I more or less run this ship by myself,
So you
but
have
I'm really the
Robert
captain.
Small, Brian Harding,
Harding, great.
Damien Bloodmarch,
Blood March. I fucking love Damien's last name.
Hugo Vega,
Vega, you said? Hugo Vega. Okay.
Craig Can, C-A-H-N,
C-A-H-N? Can or Con?
Con.
Sorry, I was grabbing Grand Classico. Oh, no need to apologize,
Okay,
Brad.
I'm right here.
No need to apologize. Let me
Matt
go. What's that?
Stella.
Stella? Stella. Might be Stella.
S-
Who was the first one?
S-E-L-L-A.
Stella. Matt Stella.
Matt Stella.
Let's take our pineapple. Put it over here. That was our pineapple of hospitality. Oh, I love that thing. You're gonna be hanging off in the background. You can hang with Pikachu. Let's make it look like Pikachu's just sipping this thing. Somebody'd be like, what the heck is the pineapple for? Alcohol. Duh. Oh my goodness, this is great. Oh, it's lovely. When I mixed that originally, I was actually very disappointed with the recipe, but right now, it is working very, very well. I need to clean out this this stirring apparatus. We're gonna use this for Robert's Old Fashioned to make sure that we're on track with our equipment. I have to be stingy with the stirring tools because I don't yet have an excess of those, although we will eventually. One day. A little bit of water. Give us a little stir.
You need more?
No, we'll be okay, but thank you so much, dear. There we go. And then it's just kind of go in.
I wasn't supposed to buy things.
What's that? No, repeat yourself. The people already heard you. Something about not buying things.
I'm not supposed to buy things.
Anna, you can buy whatever you want to. We have financial security because of the job that I hold.
No, I literally just went to Disney.
That's true. We spent an inordinate amount of money going to Disney.
Okay,
Yeah, don't buy anything.
Like
Never buy anything ever again. We're gonna let chat here be financially responsible for you for once.
That's a horrible idea.
It's a terrible idea. Don't do it. Don't be tempted by her womanly wiles. You shouldn't do that.
I'm expensive.
Anna is not just expensive. She's beautiful. So, sorry, I'm thinking of my beautiful partner and wife and partner in crime. She's beautiful.
I'm gonna go fix the straw.
She's gonna fix the straw.
Chocolate.
What are you doing? What do you mean fix the straw? Just like, okay. So moving on. Another daddy that we dated was the beautiful and honored Robert. The next daddy we dated was the beautiful and honored Robert Small. Robert Small is kind of he's like gruff. He's a bit low talking. He seems a little unapproachable. Thank you so much.
Now it's pointing at.
Now it's pointing at him and we can barely see the pineapple.
What?
Only a little bit. We're doing good. We're doing very good.
I'm having fun.
We're gonna keep on going over here. Robert is gruff. Honestly, I don't think he drinks anything else from whiskey. Notably, on one of the dates that you go on with Robert, you can go to a bar, an Irish pub specifically, and if you say anything other than shots of whiskey, shots otherwise, it's like he's disappointed in you. He's very much disappointed in you. So this is a drink that more or less uses whiskey in a way that I'm not super duper familiar with. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Whiskey in a way that I'm not already familiar with, which is basically splitting one whiskey with another one. I've been reading through this book called Cocktail Codex by the makers, the people behind the Death & Co. series of bars, and one of the things that they suggest for peaty scotches, for example, is to split it with a blended scotch. And when I read that in the book when I was on my little vacation, I was like, this is a great idea, I have to try this. And I came home and I tried it, and I was like, this is really, really good. And I really liked it combined with another technique that I tried while we were playing through this Dream Daddy game of smoking a cocktail. Because the smoke from the... Anyway, we'll get into it. I found that the smoke and otherwise just kind of all got together, so it was really, really cool. So this is Robert's Old Fashioned. It is whiskey forward with a couple of notes from the town of Maple Bay and some of our other adventures with them. So the first thing we're going to do for Robert's Old Fashioned is we are going to build it, stir it, strain over a small cube. When does the part happen when I do the garnish? I apparently didn't write that down. So actually, we're gonna do this first. I apparently did not write out my instructions for this, but that's gonna be okay. We're gonna do straight from it.
Robert has a garnish.
Robert has a decor, not really a garnish. In the game, there is a little mini game that you get to play where you quite literally get to just carve some wood with Robert. So I felt that the most appropriate thing to do for Robert is to potentially take a little piece of decor and make one of our own. So I have a wooden dowel that is standing up straight here. This will be the apparatus with which we will be carving, but we will also be utilizing this other thing over here, which is a container of, let me find it. This is a block of maple wood. Block of maple wood because Maple Bay is where the place of Dream Daddy happens to take place. In Maple Bay, I thought of Maple Bay. Think of maple syrup. I think of maple wood. I bought 4 blocks of maple wood, uncured, blanks for turning on the internet because I thought, what if we smoked a cocktail with chips of maple wood? So that's exactly what I did. This was incredibly difficult to carve. So I carved off stream and made these little bits of maple chips. These little bits of maple chips will go into our cocktail smoker, and we will smoke the cocktail with it after the fact. So if you want to join along at home, grab yourself a box cutter like this, or perhaps an actual whittling tool. I don't own a proper whittling tool, and do motions such as this. Not on that side. You want to go with the grain. It's all about art. Kind of like that. See? Isn't that easy?
This concerns me.
This is very concerning, and this is actually very hard wood to do, and I was not able to do any sort of actual work on the inside of this, so that's why I bought a bunch of blocks. So instead, we're gonna make a garnish with this little wood block. So, if you allow me a moment, I'm gonna do some wood carving over here. Specifically, I'm trying to go for a very manly-looking object. Something potentially a little bit phallic. It's reminiscent of our journey with Robert when we were hanging on the sides of the cliff while he was hanging in his car. The Dover ghost came by to scare the shit out of us. It was a very, very harrowing experience, honestly, and it was actually quite beautiful, and it was very, very romantic. We almost screwed. We didn't actually, because we're really close with Robert like that. Very close indeed. I'm shortening the length of my rod. I don't need the whole thing. Size really doesn't matter. I'm gonna take the little bits over here and very carefully kind of take off the little pieces there. There we go. That's good, that's good.
You concern me.
You gotta be very, very careful when you're cutting like this. Always cut away from yourself. That's the proper technique. Ooh, that's being a little, ooh, hello there. Oh, that got into my maple container. That's not true. I don't know what kind of wood this is. It comes with whatever wooden dowel you get off the internet. Maybe it's like a softwood, like cypress or something, or poplar. I don't know woods at all. I know birch. There were some birch trees in the back of my parents' place. It was actually very cool. We'd go back in the woods, take pictures and stuff, hang by the cliff. There was a little natural spring back there, a little quarry that was kind of defunct. They're really filling in the quarry now. It's really unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. The defiling our lands. We used to go fishing back there. Me and my brothers, some of my friends too. It was very, very nice. Very, 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 very soothing too. I want to go back there someday, but alas, childhood is behind us. And there's no taking it back. So, this is my tough guy accessory. It is a toothpick.
You literally carved it down just to make a toothpick?
Would you not have?
You have toothpicks.
Yeah, but it's better to make my own toothpick. I'm trying to get into the characters of the game here. Hey, Cammy C, says M. Oh, Natty's here too. Don't worry, y'all. I made 2. What? This one's for you. Here you go, chat. Here's the toothpick. I made that one for you. Let's mix up a cocktail around here. Let's do that thing where we mix cocktails. I need a big, large cube with which to mix all of my ingredients together. That's what I'm gonna do. Big, large cube. Big, large cube on a Wednesday. Add some ice. Let's get things started over here. I had described a little bit of what I'm doing here in terms of the recipe. I have this wonderful 10-year-old single malt scotch that was purchased for us for mine and Disney Queen's wedding back in January. And it is a wonderful, wonderful bottle. It's got some notes of brininess to it. Got some notes of oak, obviously. I'm not that good at describing flavors of spirits specifically, but it's also mildly peaty, mildly smoky, and it's appreciable. But when you're using different levels of scotches like this, you might want to dial things back. It's a little dry, I'll admit. The flavor of this scotch is a bit dry. And actually, I'll do a little tasting for you here to do a comparison between this this scotch, and all blended. Little blended one I got back here. There we go. It's the big cheap bottle of scotch that you can get from fine wine. A little Inver house. We've seen this on stream before. The idea is to basically take a larger proportion of this and kind of smooth it out and extend those oaky flavors with this. So let's go with that. Let's try to see what these flavors taste like side by side from each other. Go those. We got our Talisker 10-year in one. A little bit of that. We'll use more of it for the actual cocktail later. And a bit of our Inver House Plaid. Inver House Plaid? Inver House Green Plaid. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. What are you doing? What are you drinking? So this is our Talisker 10-year. Ooh, it's got a bite to it. Okay. Smoky, naturally. Does have a nice smoke to it. I'm not going to go too deep into the flavors. I'm not a whiskey aficionado. But comparatively, this Inver House's doesn't smell the same as the other one. This is a little more warm. Almost smells like rum in a way. Not any particular kind of rum. It's much sweeter. It's very, very smooth compared to this. This is dry. This is smooth. This is smoky. This is sweet. And what else we got going on here? Yeah, it's almost fruity in a way. It's not bad. And then our other scotch back again. You know, there is a noticeable fruitiness to both of them. A little bit. Or I might just be wrong. In any case, let's move on. Let's actually make a cocktail. Let's actually put things together. Let's put 2 and 2 together and see what we're working with over here. So, to create Robert's Old Fashioned, we're going to combine in a ratio of 3-to-1 our expensive scotch. I really don't know how much this bottle actually costs. Somebody else out there is going to have to educate me on that. 1.5 ounces of our single malt Scotch whiskey. Then we're going to add 1/2 ounce of our blended Scotch whiskey. Right? Yeah, 1/2 ounce. Blended. There we go. $3.50. $3.50? No way! That's what I thought it costs! Naturally. Now we've combined this together, we're going to add just 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. There are a couple different maple syrup options you can choose from. I found that for the lighter, fruitier notes that I found in both of these whiskeys, that a golden maple syrup seemed to work best for my palate. And 2 teaspoons was what I was approximating as. But you can just put like a bar spoon in there, a scant bar spoon. You don't need that much of this. Robert wouldn't use too much of this anyway. He's a straight whiskey kind of guy. And so bastardizing this with maple syrup almost feels sacrilegious, but he's from Maple Bay. And we're going to smoke it anyway, so a lot of that sweetness is going to be sucked back out, or rather, over-clouded. Very good. So now, it's nice and... Oh, that's a very maple syrupy. The spoon, I mean, not the rest of the drink. Put these away. Can't really see the ingredients now behind this pineapple over here. I'm actually going to move this back over here. I apologize, dear. We can't see our ingredients.
It's okay.
There we go. These are our ingredients. So now, we're going to stir this up as we would other old fashions. I'm not adding any bitters to this because the work that the smoke does in the end is going to do it all for us. Let's give this a stir. Takes a little while. A properly stirred cocktail can take quite a bit. The idea here is we're adding a controlled amount of dilution. We want to add some of that coldness to it. Make it very, very cold, bracingly cold, especially in the case of some of our other drinks that get to stand on their own after the fact, like a martini, for example. This is going to be strained over a big old ice cube or an ice sphere, depending on what you have available. So this is going to continue to dilute over time, so you don't really need to dilute it that much, because there will be some well-earned dilution that happens eventually. Now that our ingredients are combined together, we're going to bring out the smoking kit. We're going to pour this into a glass over a cube or sphere, depending on what you have available. And we're going to let this infuse for not too long, just enough time to get a hint of those smoked maple wood notes, but not to overpower it. Because we learned the last time that I played around with this thing, I let it sit for way, way too long, and it was very, very, very smoky, like noticeably smoky throughout the entire throughout the entire drinking duration, and it was alarming how smoky that actually got. Let's grab ourselves a glass. There's wood chips all over my bar here because I made a little art project for everybody. Let's grab, if you have clear ice spheres, go for it. If you don't, no problem. We're gonna take a julep strainer, strain this over the top. Oh, actually, let me bring the cocktail angle over. Let's bring the cocktail angle over. Fun stuff is happening. Fun stuff is happening. That's the front of the bar. That's not the fun stuff, I assure you. This is the fun stuff. Back you up just a tad. Just a tad. Come over here, buddy. There we go. Oh, come on, bud. Come on, bud. There you go, bud. Put you back over here. This is the prime location. Right over there. We're gonna pour over the top, and I'm gonna apply some smoke to it. Evidently, there was a little space inside of that ice ball. I heard the bubbles popping up. That's fine. Carefully put this away. Now what we'll do, take some of our maple chips. We're gonna put them over top. There we go. Don't need too many of these. Only need just enough to cover the top of this thing. And these are very long strands, so I'm not gonna do too much with it. We'll take our siphon, our little tube. I'm gonna put this actually on top of this container, otherwise the angling just does not work out very well. Put this over here. There we go. Let's go with this. I'm gonna put this over here. Actually, let's put you over here. I don't want fire to happen. Ever. Let's put you way over here. We need distance on this thing. If there's even a kink in this tube, it doesn't work. And I dislike that. See, now there's a kink in the tube. I freaking... Patience, Cameron. Patience. Patience. Girlfriend's stream... Oh, the stream is making your girlfriend feel better? Oh! Thank you very much for the very, very kind words. I hope we're doing at least... We're doing our part. We're doing our part over here. They say a little hair of the dog can cure even the most rashest of fevers. So they say. I personally wouldn't recommend it, though. And neither would the doctor sitting in the room. Randall says hi. Cameron says hi, too. Let's go for this thing. I'm going to turn on my smoking apparatus, and you're going to watch as the smoke piles in as I burn this thing. Propane torch. I'm doing it off screen because the angling's stupid. We don't need it for that long. We don't need it for that long. Are you doing your thing? Are you doing your... Come on, dude. Where's the smoke, dog? There we go. There we go. There we go. Turn that off. We don't need any more of that. We don't...
There's smoke.
Look, there's smoke. Look at that. I'm only leaving it for a little bit. I don't want it to be too much. And then we'll whisk it off the top and garnish appropriately. Here's a toothpick. The toothpick is going into the glass. Why? Because we can. Because we can do whatever we want to! The idea is to allow the flavor of the toothpick to slowly but surely infuse into the drink itself. No, it isn't, really. The smoke is the garnish. The smoke is the garnish. I'm gonna take that out before I actually drink it, because otherwise I'm just gonna stab my face. There we go. This is Robert's Old Fashioned. A split Scotch single malt and Scotch blended Old Fashioned with a bit of sweetener from the maple syrup. And if you're a tough guy like me, you drink it with the toothpick in your mouth. It actually tastes like smoke. That's delightful. That's actually really, really tasty. Robert's Old Fashioned. Let's go for it. Smells so smoky. Oh, it's so smoky. I don't remember whether Robert smokes or not, but I imagine if he did, he'd smell like this. That's a sipper. Oh, that is a sipper. The smokiness from the single malt Scotch has been mellowed out by those smoother notes from the blended Scotch, drawing out those flavors ever so slightly, despite the fact that I put a scant bar spoon of maple syrup in here. It doesn't taste too strongly of the maple syrup. Those sweet notes from the maple syrup are kind of bolstering those sweeter notes that I was getting from the blended earlier. And the smoke that was added after the fact adds a touch of bitterness in addition to the dryness that is coming from the single malt. It's a very, very pleasant old-fashioned. And there is a noticeable touch of sweetness now that I get to it. Oh, I'm spilling it, my god. And it smells so wonderful. That's just has, it's got layers. That's got layers to it. Just like Robert. Robert's got layers to it. He's nervous about his daughter. It's a rough relationship between him and his daughter. And in the end, in the true ending, in the good ending, we wind up seeing Val, his daughter, pop over to our little backyard soiree, and it's very beautiful. That's great. Randall says, by the way, butter pecan ice cream with Jaeger is a fair mix. The anise power is a little too much, in my opinion. Oh, I appreciate those notes, Randall. Scotch goes in you, not on you. Duh. Obviously. And Brad says he looks like he smokes. He looks like he does smoke, right? It looks like he do. Robert's actually freaking hilarious. And I just love the way that he adds this sort of sarcastic humor to almost anything that he does. And it's very similar to the way that I cope with certain situations. Just adding a sarcastic humor to anything. I really appreciate that. He's the kind of guy who'd spin entire stories at the local cemetery when the local ghost group is walking through, and then get inadvertently scared by his own internal narratives of what cryptids lie within the neighborhood of Maple Bay, specifically the Dover Ghost. And it was just wonderful. This is our old-fashioned for Robert. This is a very, I really like this old-fashioned, and I'm not going to touch it. This, if you were to take it in another direction, would probably be benefited with like an orange peel or maybe a spritz of like orange bitters and stuff, but that's not the direction I wanted to take this one. This is less on those obvious fruit notes and more on those subtle, appreciable, oaky Scotch notes. And I think what he was drinking in the actual game was Irish whiskey, not Scotch. And I guess technically we were at an Irish bar. So I guess technically this is a little off base.
He likes whiskey.
He likes whiskey, exactly. He likes whiskey. And then we're gonna go with that. He likes whiskey. We're gonna put this on a wooden coaster. I feel like that makes sense. That's great. We'll put that off to the side. That was Robert's Old Fashioned. Robert's Old Fashioned. So far we've gotten Brian's Pineapple of Hospitality. It's quite literally a cocktail on a pineapple. It's awesome. This pineapple is getting slowly but surely more squishy with time. So I'm just going to put that back where it was and not worry about it and hope to goodness that I don't cause problems for myself down the line. That'll be fine. I'll put my blended whiskey away. Put this back in the back. I got it back over here. There we go. Take my nice Scotch, my nice single malt. It's not the nicest single malt, but it's my single malt. Well, it's not specifically my single malt. It's the only single malt Scotch whiskey that I have in this apartment, so I take that.
Which also makes it yours.
Does anybody have any recommendations for good single malt scotches that won't break my bank? I'd appreciate that. Whatever recommendations you have. I have a couple already in the Cocktail Codex book, but I'll take a personal recommendation from somebody that I actually know over, you know, people who are well experienced in the world of cocktails and mixology. I'm gonna take this box and put it over here. I clean all this stuff up later. I make the mess now and make myself later on clean it up so that we can have a funny show around here. Something about, to me, I find throwing things and loud noises very, very funny. So that's the kind of things that I impart into these streams here. Brad says, oh, future Cameron will do with squishy pineapple. He will. I know I just have high-end tastes for Scotch. Well, what is high-end to you? I won't judge you. Reynolds says, in my opinion, if it's room temp, then those subtle flavors come through a tiny bit more than if it is a tiny less smooth. That's a good point there. That's the thing with like old fashions that are like well made, at least in my experience. I've not had a lot of old fashions compared to some specific whiskey aficionados out there, but I really appreciate when the dilution begins to increase and those other flavors that are they're kind of like locked inside the whiskey begin to blossom over time. And if that's the case, and you're like a really big whiskey guy, you don't necessarily need to be putting it into an old fashioned unless you want to play around with those flavors that you're already familiar with. I go through a lot of different things. I go through a lot of different categories here, so I don't necessarily have the opportunity to sink that deep into the niche of specific whiskeys and old fashions and the arts around all the different others like really, really awesome whiskey cocktails out there. But if you have that type of experience, let me know, because I want to know what it's like from your end. I don't know. I love me some Highland 18. 18 years. That's good stuff. So let's move on to the next cocktail of the evening. We've dated Brian. He was a pretty cool guy. He loves his daughter. He's very open about it, and he likes to shove it in people's faces. Although I don't know if he actually shoves it in people's faces. I think he's just really proud, and people take it as, like, competitive, because we're competitive. The avatar is very competitive. We dated Robert, who's a little gruff. He's kind of closed off and stuff, and he loves his whiskey, so we made him an old-fashioned. Next we have on the list, we dated Joseph Christiansen. Joseph Christiansen he's the local youth pastor. He's got a lovely family. He's got a wife that is a wife and a person and her own individual. She likes to frequent the bars, but Joseph himself does not frequent the bars. Joseph is a very nautical individual. He loves going onto his yacht. He loves being on his yacht. He lives on his yacht because of the troubles in his marriage, which he hides very well, apparently. He likes to bake with his children. He likes to sell the things baked. Thank you very much, dearest. I get Ghirardelli chocolates when I do very good. I'm gonna slip this inside of my shirt, and I'll eat it later. And when it's all nice and mushy. Just the way that I like it. Mushy chocolate and caramel. It's delightful. Joseph, youth pastor, very Christian. Last name literally Christiansen. When I was coming up with this cocktail recipe for Joseph Christiansen, I actually tried a version of it that was only very slightly modified from a very traditional New York sour template on stream. I've modified it a little bit since then. I've noticed that with the original Slivovitz recipe, Slivovitz I use, it is a plum brandy. In this case, it is specifically a blue plum brandy from Clear Creek Distillery, which is a very, very good distillery when it comes to eau de vies, according to the Cocktail Codex. I really want to get my hands on one of their pear brandies. But this was really, really overpowering in flavor. And honestly, because of how strong it is, one of the reasons because of that, it's an aged spirit. It's very, very young. It's feisty. It is expressive. I kind of dial it back with an aged spirit that we kind of add in addition to it. We're going back to that concept of splitting different spirits together for split bases. I'm using a Cognac, a Salignac in this case. That worked out rather well. It was very good. He's also got a great non-canon ending. Oh, Joseph too. If you do things exactly right, there's like a cult in Maple Bay, and he like leads the cult over there. I don't know the story too much about that, and maybe at some point we'll go back to that, but it seems wildly entertaining, very much so. He has a wife who... It's willpower. It's true, though. His wife's name is Mary. His name is Joseph. Wife name is Mary. Children's name are all variations on Chris. Chrissy, Christian, the other one. I can't remember. And they're all kind of creepy. The twins play that little, like, creepy twin thing. And they absolutely love it. If you enable the twins to be, like really lean into the whole creepy twin thing, they're like totally into it. And at least in one case, they go out in the middle of the woods and dissect a stuffed animal that was taken from Craig's Child River. It's terrifying in the best of ways. So the idea behind the Christiansen sour is this. Christiansen sour, New York sour. You put a little bit of red wine over the top. Joseph is a wine guy. He likes his wine. I got this bottle of Petit Syrah and Petit Verdot blend. I believe it's 85% Petit Syrah and 15% Petit Verdot. Or Verdot, I don't know how you pronounce that, but it worked really, really well together. So essentially, I'm just going to do that again. The Slivovitz, because I believe Slivovitz, the name sounds very Jewish to me. And Jesus Christ was a Jew, at least according to some people who, or like the Bible and stuff, because before there was Christianity, there was Judaism, so that was kind of heathenistic, because that's just how the stuff works there. I'm not much of a religious guy myself, but I'm aware of my Christian history, because that's what I was raised as. And we combine that together with a more or less slightly modified whiskey sour template, which we'll do together. Or so New York sour template where you float the red wine up on top. So let's get right into this. This one involves utilizing an egg white, and that's going to be the hardest part of this, so let's go for it. I'm going to grab my glass from the freezer after the fact. We're going to do our mixture in our mixing glass first. Then we float the red, we put it up on top, and my glass is actually already decorated. I did that work for myself ahead of time. Randall says, for my recommendation, red label is cheap, $19 to $28 black label, fair price, $38 to $56. Lac Le Monde is fair priced, $48 is a nice strong flavored single malt scotch. Thank you for the recommendations, Randall. I appreciate those greatly. I wonder if there's not a huge scotch selection in my local liquor store. I know like when I went there, the Inver house was like the most affordable option. And I was like, I just don't have a scotch, so I'm just gonna get the scotch. And then I learned after the fact some more details on like single malt versus otherwise, Isla versus Highland or Lowland scotches. And I can't talk too much on those details, but I'm at least superficially aware of them. So we're gonna grab our shaking apparatus and we're gonna add to one side of this an egg white. I've got containers at the ready to separate my egg white from my egg yolk because I like to be responsible with these things. And plus, if you paid attention or you stick around, you'll notice that we're going to utilize the egg yolk, if everything goes well, later on in a different cocktail completely, specifically for Damien. So let's take our egg white. We're just gonna crack this over this tube. Try not to get any eggshells in it and separate appropriately. I'm gonna hope this goes really, really well on the first try. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. Just kind of knock that egg back and forth. Try not to break the yolk if we can. You can kind of almost slice it in a way if you're careful. There we go. Perfect. And I'm gonna put this egg yolk inside of this container. We will be back for this. We will come back to that egg yolk for a different cocktail later on. So now that we got our egg yolk, I'm gonna put this back in the fridge. Egg white, I mean. Egg white. I hardly know her, obviously. I need simple syrup from here, so let me grab that while I'm over here. Oh no, I dropped the egg yolk. It's still good. Oh, I dropped it again, and now it's broken. It's okay. Mixology happens around here. So now we have our egg white. We're going to add to our glass a half an ounce, or about 15 milliliters of cognac. Cognac brandy. I'm using Cognac. I don't have specifics on why you would use one over the other, but that's just what we have. Half an ounce, or about 15 milliliters of cognac brandy. Then we need a full ounce, or about 30 milliliters, of our Slivovitz, our blue plum brandy. Technically an eau de vie. If you're wondering how this tastes on its own, I actually did make a small piece of content before. So that was an ounce or 30 milliliters of your blue plum brandy, your Slivovitz. Excuse me. The wine will actually come back to later. We're not ready for that just yet. Randall says, I have an ABC near me that has an entire rack selection of scotch. I am jealous, my dude. We do not have anything around here. Yeah, and the egg yolk's gone. That's okay. Well, we got the egg white, and we do have more eggs, and that's okay. I can just make eggs for myself in the morning, which is great. Next, we're gonna add 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. I have lemons prepped for the occasion. And I'm gonna juice those, so take your lemon, cut it in half. My voice cracked a little bit there. Did anybody notice? I didn't notice. I never notice. My voice cracks. Flip this upside down. We need 3/4 of an ounce, or about 22 milliliters of fresh lemon juice. And I really only needed half a lemon for that. So that was convenient. That was very, very convenient. We'll put that in our scraps bin. We'll use that for stuff later. 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, 22 milliliters. Put that away for now. Next we're gonna need was about half an ounce of a rich simple syrup. What I mean by a rich simple syrup is a simple syrup that has been mixed in a 2-to-1 ratio of sugar to water by weight. I actually use a different technique for making this simple syrup that I do otherwise. Instead of bringing the water to a boil and adding the sugar to it, I wanted to preserve that ratio between water and sugar to be as close to 2-to-1 as possible. So I combined them all together by weight and then stirred that around quite a bit and then slowly brought it up to temperature with a hot plate until the entire solution became clear and not cloudy. And it worked super duper 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 well. And this is a very, very nice simple syrup, and it is completely shelf stable for at least a while. So 15 milliliters or half an ounce of simple syrup. I don't know if I need any more of that. I'll put this on the side just in case we need some more later. Great, we have our plum brandy, we got our cognac, we got our lemon juice, we got our simple syrup. The red wine does not come until the very end. We are not mixing that just yet. We're gonna dry shake this first by combining our liquids into air. We don't want any ice in there just yet. The idea is to emulsify that egg and let those tightly packed proteins do their thing by trapping a bunch of air in it and then making a lovely froth at the end. You could use an egg white substitute for this, a cocktail foamer. There's various other things that exist out there, or chickpea juice, aquafaba. And let's shake this. Just be careful, because this thing does not like to keep pressure on its own. So you kind of have to hold the whole thing shut or else it kind of explodes on you. There we go. So now that is in warm shook. Got some syrup on the side there. We can pop that open. We're gonna add a big cube. Add a big cube and a couple of little cubes, and then we're gonna wet shake it, moist shake it. We're gonna shake it with ice. That's what we're gonna do. Let's go in here. Let me grab a big ice cube. Ooh, come on there, buddy. One big ice cube is gonna be slowly but surely popped in there. Not trying to make a mess. If we got some tiny cubes, I'll take them. Any tiny cubes over here? We do. Yeah, we got the cubes. We got some cubes over here. Let's take some tiny little cubes. These are beautiful little cubes. I love these little cubes. They're great. Love tiny little cubes. Freaking love tiny little cubes, man. They're so good. Shake, 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 senora. What are they talking about over here? Brad's got an ABC. ABC here is the only liquor store in the city. Ah, okay, okay. If I had to, don't share if you don't want to, Randall, but what city are you located in? Or you can say general area, like country or state or otherwise. I don't want you to reveal exactly what your location is. Please don't do that. But if we ever find ourselves in the area, I love to visit people. So if anybody is around and you let me know where you are, if I find myself in that area, I'll try to stop by and say hi. I love doing that stuff. All right, everything together. Let's grab a chilled coupe glass if you got it. Let's bring the cocktail angle over here and try to see if I can do this better than I did the last time. Hello, bud. Hello, buddy. You can go back there a little bit. There you go. There we go. North Carolina's where Brad's at. Palm Coast, Florida. No way, dude. We were just down in Florida the other day. We were in Orlando at Disney World. Let's take out our glass. For Joseph, we opted for a nautical theme because, honestly, this man would just be a captain if he could. If he could be a ship captain, that's exactly what he would do. So we do this for Joseph, our Christiansen sour. Pop things over here. We're gonna double strain this out. One strainer up on top. Oh, I don't like these ones. Double strain here. Let's go for it. If I proportion this out correctly, we have space for our red wine. Yes! Actually worked. Perfect! Alright, now that we got this going, let me adjust this angle. Actually, we're gonna keep it right there, just making sure that we can actually focus in on what we're doing. There we go. This is about an hour and a half away, I think. Oh, that's good to know. Cool, cool, cool. Now let's take our red wine. If you can open it up. Oh my goodness. There we go. Here we go. Not as significant a pop as I'd like it to be. Let's grab a bar spoon. I'm gonna try to pour about a half an ounce over the top. I've ratioed this out to this glass specifically. So I don't have to be too specific about things. Let's put it over here so we can actually see the thing pop down. Very carefully pour over the back, the bar spoon, raising the level of this ever so carefully. There we go. And if you do have a better red wine that comes from the top, no worries. Use it as a garnish. I don't really know what I'm doing with this particular garnish. Oh, you are a deep red one, my sir. Yes, you are. If you want to get creative with it... Oh, I don't know where I put my toothpick! That's okay, I got more. Let's do stuff with it. Can we make it a C? Actually, I really shouldn't have put that spoon over here. Hold on a second. Maybe I can make this a C. I've never played around with this kind of stuff before, so I'm gonna take a moment to play. Okay, can we get this into a C? Okay. Okay. Honestly, wasn't that bad. Honestly. Oh, you can't see that at all. What the heck? You can't see that at all. Hold on a second. Oh, come on. Come on, cocktail angle. Work with me here. Is that kind of a C? How's that looking? No, that kind of sucks. It's okay. What it lacks in appearance, it makes up for in flavor. Haha, that's what my daughter Amanda would do. All right, let's get back over here. Absolutely hilarious. Photo. This is a nitrogen-protected red wine. It is. And actually, if you're trying to preserve your wines, take some inert gas, argon, helium, other stuff like that. 1 pump, 1, 2, 3 small pumps. And try to put the cork back on. And you can save this for later. Or if you're like some people I know, just drink it all in one night. Oh, I found the tooth. Nope, that was the other toothpick. Whatever. So this is our Christiansen sour. Oh, C's for cocktail. And cocktail's enough for me. That's perfect. I also realized too, there's a very thick layer of red wine. It is very, very prominent. This is very, very tasty looking. Just that whole, I wonder how that looks from the far off angle. Yeah. It's beautiful. I love things that look like this. I honestly feel that sometimes I put a little too much red wine on these things, but I'm cool with it. I dig that. All right. This is our Christiansen sour for Joseph. Just as I remember it to be. That's tasty. The notes of this are like a dry fruitiness. It's not necessarily the sweetest thing you've ever had, but there's a savoriness from the red wine and a fruitiness of dark fruit that really butts up against and honestly very comfortably juxtaposes those notes of plum, deep plum from the Plum Brandy, which has been extended a little bit, dialed back a little bit, but also extended in another dimension from the Cognac that we added there, which allows things to coexist a little more smoothly. Aged spirits tend to be a bit more smoother than unaged spirits. The Plum Brandy is unaged. It has no color to it. It's never seen oak before. It's a very bombastic plum flavor. The Cognac, on the other hand, is a little more smoothed out. This one is a This is a VS, and I can't remember exactly what the age requirements are for a VS Cognac, but I know it is less than a VSOP, a VSOP. And that means very special. VS, I believe it does. But it's lovely. Compared to the Christiansen sour as we knew it previously when we actually dated Joseph, it is a bit more balanced. It's less on those Plum Brandy notes, and it's a little more appreciable as a New York sour cocktail. Although this one has a bit more wine in it, I think. I'm making a fucking mess over here, my guy. Oh, I stained my thingy. That's unfortunate. Oh, man. This is what happens when I get too into my drinks. I make a mess, y'all. Question, with the layers, do they still taste every flavor? You actually do. Surprisingly enough, despite the fact that it seems like there is a very, very clear distinction between the froth layer, the red wine layer, and the sour layer down beneath, you can kind of taste everything all around, because at least for the froth and the whiskey sour part, the plum brandy sour beneath it, those had a chance to exist together in the shaker. The foam is noticeably dry. That's where a lot of your dryness is coming from. There's a slight difference between the lighter fruit notes that are kind of sour. They're sour in a way. There's like a balanced sour with the yellow layer down beneath, which is the sour part of the cocktail. And then in the middle are those relatively warmer, relatively savory, and relatively darker notes in terms of fruit from the red wine that lies in between. And there's a bit of dryness there, but the foam itself is, I think, the driest part. The red wine is the next driest, and then the part down below is also a little dry, but it's the least dry of the layers, if you will. There we go. Again, in, not on. On, not within. I keep making this mistake. Let's put this on Table and Tonic. Cape Charles, Virginia. Feels very appropriate for a dude who likes to do his nautical thing. And boats and stuff. Boats and stuff. I am making an absolute mess of this little rubber mat over here, so I might swap this out after the next one, y'all. So that was our Christiansen Sour. This is a Christiansen Sour attempt number 2. This is more balanced and attempts to support those plum brandy notes. The plum brandy is absolutely the star of the show over there. It's not pretending not to be. It's just been, instead of being the only person on stage with just a straight up spotlight on them, you can actually see the rest of the supporting cast now. And there's a nice melody and pedal tone in the background of everything. It's very wonderful. And there's also like a nautical blowhorn in the background, like on a boat in the distance with like, but much more musical. Like significantly more musical. More musical than I ever could do on this stream. Forgot to put the instructions away for the smoker kit. That goes over there. We're cleaning up a little bit over here. I need some water. I'm getting noticeably turnt over here. Well, this is going wonderfully so far. So, Brian, we dated him. We kissed him. It was wonderful. Robert, we did not fuck on the first date. We also did not engage in coitus on our final date either. We just talked. It was a beautiful thing. Joseph, on the other hand, oh, we slammed him. Oh, we got really up close and personal on that boat of his, on that yacht. It came about rather quickly, and I did not get the good ending for Joseph, and nor did I explore the cult ending, which is unfortunate, but honestly, so far, Joseph's drink is really awesome. I had a lot of fun mixing this one together. And I realized that you can't actually see Robert's drink down here because I put him a little farther down here, but these are our drinks so far. And you can kind of make out the details of a pineapple over here that is getting soggier and soggier as the stream continues. But that's all intentional there. Randall says, I love drinks like that. The layers look cool when you shake them. Even though there are different layers, they somehow impart the flavors onto each other. Well, if you think about it, there's a very fun lesson in physics here. I believe the concept is called osmosis or something like that, where the different layers tend to infuse whatever is the difference between them into each other. So as this drink sits, the bubbles from the froth are going to break down a little bit. Those flavoring parts of it, the stuff that isn't the air in between, is going to fall into the red wine. Technically, depending on the way that the physics work out here, I believe there's more proof on the lowest layer than there is on the red wine on top. So because there's more proof down there, let's say ignoring the convenient physical effects of the density of the lemon juice and stuff, those higher proof stuff is going to float up into the red wine and then up on top of it. So eventually, if you let something like this sit for a while, it's going to get really, really different. It's going to warm up considerably. The structure of the drink is going to change considerably. This is what those sour drinks, especially the New York Sour, is one of those drinks that I really appreciate. I'm a slow drinker. I tend to take my time on things. Hence the fact that I basically never finish any of these drinks, especially during these bar streams. But these ones are always very, 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 very interesting. And actually, if anybody is very specifically curious about notes on whiskey sours and other sour recipes, Greg from How to Drink just put up a video about the best tasting cocktail in the world. And I'm pretty sure it's a crash course on sours. So that would be a place to check things out if you really, really want to get into the deepness of this stuff. And he also shares a bunch of other tidbits of information. I pull a lot from him, so very good. Greg is a pinnacle in our field. Language says willpower. That's a good point. That's a good point. I have a couple of drinks in me. I'd like to apologize for that. I'm a very kid-friendly individual. No, I'm not. Anyways, let's go to the next one. We have, the next cocktail that we have around here is for our buddy, what is it? Oh, who did we date next? I think it was Matt. And this one's really, really fun. It is Matt. Matt was probably, I really loved the dates that we had with Matt. Matt was super duper cool. He's a bit introverted. He's really interested in drinks like I am. He's very much into music. He's got a musical background to him. And there was a thing that there was a tragedy that happened in his life when he lost his wife that made him kind of go inward so much so that he wasn't able to go out and perform again until the player, at least on the third day. By the way, spoiler alert for all the stuff that I'm saying here. If you proceed to his good ending, you'll kind of almost encourage him to get back out there and do music stuff again, even if it's just in the comfort of the apartment. And I love this story so much. It was also he also is a barista, and I love coffee drinks. And so when I was coming up with Matt's drink, I was like, it's got to have coffee in it, obviously. I did have an original idea that was going to be a reference to his dead wife, whose name is Rosa, and I decided to scrap the concept because the flavors of rose do not go well with oregano, which you can see in the recipe up there. There's a particular scene where you and Matt agree that we are going to smoke some dank, get your hands on some of the ganja, so to speak. I've never smoked marijuana. That's a lie. And you actually get your hands on oregano from Damien's son, Lucien, who sells you, instead of weed, oregano, and you smoke it up in his apartment, and you cough a bit, and you're like, oh my god, it tastes like a pizzeria. And I was like, pizzeria cocktail? Let's think about that for a second. So, in the mixology world, we experiment. We do a lot of experimentation. So, I actually have 2 different gins here that I infused. Each of these is a proportion of gin. I want to say it was about 6 full ounces of just your regular old gin. I think I just took the cheapest London Dry I could find. This has a proportion of oregano in it, and this has the same proportion, I don't remember what the measurements are, I apologize, of toasted oregano. The toasted oregano was oregano that was put into a toaster oven for like 20 seconds, and then it started burning, so then I took it out of the toaster oven, and then I put both of them in alcohol. The toasted oregano one is noticeably darker, ever so slightly, than the oregano. They've actually evened out in color just a little bit, but I've actually taken a lot from this container as I was doing my recipes for it. The difference in these is noticeable. It is quite noticeable. Let's take a taste of these oregano gins. I'm only going to do a little bit because I need enough for the cocktail. So here on one side, we have our toasted oregano gin. Here on the other side, we have our regular oregano gin. Named so because one is mixed with oregano and the other one had toasted oregano. That's just simple naming conventions around here. Both of them smell like oregano. The toasted oregano one has notes of char to it, thanks in part to my toaster oven, which I think was made by Hamilton Beach. Thank you, Hamilton. The oregano gin on its own, bright, floral, tastes like oregano. The toasted oregano gin, on the other hand, sweet, slightly floral, tastes like toasted oregano. So, a slight difference in the two of these, which makes a lot of sense. Honestly, this is a very, whatever notes from the gin, especially those notes of juniper, are a little hard for me to parse out, just because the oregano flavor is so intense. It is very, very strong. And so to try to pull anything else from that is a little bit difficult. You can dilute that flavor of oregano by mixing it with something else. You can mix it with a bit of water. You can cut it with water. You can add some other stuff to it. This Matt's drink, which I call Father Father, is a reference. He would name a lot of his coffee drinks and bakery creations off of various different indie rock bands and other bands that he's listened to. And in the game, you actually find a band called Pup, which I'd never heard of previously. It was actually very delightful. You actually see them in the game, which I thought was cool. So I decided to name this drink off of one of my favorite indie Canadian rock bands. The band itself is called Mother Mother, and we played Dream Daddy, so it felt appropriate to name this Matt's Father Father, because that's the way that he would name his drinks. So I love this. So you've made an Italian gin. It is very Italian. It's oregano. I am actually Italian, although I'm like 3rd or 4th generation, so I feel like I can do this, but if anybody takes offense to it, I'm not sorry. I'm like 5/8 Italian, so I'm not dabbing. Anyways, let's grab the other thing that we're gonna do with this, right? This is a coffee-based recipe. This is sort of a love child between an espresso tonic and a gin and tonic. The gin has been infused with toasted oregano. The coffee is coffee. And I was actually originally workshopping this with the cold brew that I made just this last day. When we got back from Orlando, I set up my cold brew. I just bought 3 bags of the Winter Acre stuff from Black Acres Roastery in Baltimore, Maryland. It's super tasty. It's got a great, great tropical note to it, especially in the cold brew. It actually came out really, really weak. And I think it's because instead of letting it sit for at least 24 hours, I let it sit for about like 14 or so. So I took it out way too early. So I figured this would be the right opportunity to make coffee very, very quickly, which we learned, at least on a previous stream, that you can do inside of these whipped cream makers. I've already pre-measured out all the ingredients. If you want to do this for yourself at home, you can follow along if you have one of these guys here. These things take nitrogen canisters. I'm going to need one of those, so thank you, Pikachu. Pikachu always keeps the whippets. We need 12 ounces of liquid, water in this case, to about 70 grams. This is about 69.3 grams of coffee. So we're going to take this coffee, I'm going to put it all inside of this, and then measure out our water. Then we're going to let that sit for a bit. We're going to decorate the glass and put a garnish on it. And by the time that we're done garnishing, this should be totally, totally good. And we can make our cocktail with some rapid cold brew. Now, to be fair, it's not really cold brew. It's technically espresso, because espresso is just pressurized coffee. And this is experiencing high amounts of pressure because of the nitrogen. But it's also nitrogenated, so that's really cool. This is one of those expert level techniques that you can only get here at the Bar with an X. Or anybody else who does advanced cocktail mixology stuff and craft cocktails. That's just how it is over here. Next, we're gonna add 12 ounces of filtered water. I don't know what that is in cups, so I'm just gonna do this the easy way, or I guess the hard way, by taking, here we go, 2, 4, need more water. I need more water in general. I'm filling up my ounces at the same time. There we go. I'm not gonna do that at the same time. Nope, I don't want to make a mess. 6. There we go. Fill up on water while we're at it. Ah, I'm dropping water. 8. I'm dripping water everywhere. 10. And like just about 11. We don't want to fill it up. There's a max line in here somewhere, and I want to make sure that I'm not above it. I am not. There we go. That's all that we need there. So now what we're going to do, gonna cap this off. All right, gotta head out. Enjoy the rest of the drinks. Cheers. Thank you so much for popping in willpower. And I hope to the both of you that whoever's got the sickness doesn't spread it to the other person. And whoever does have the sickness by this time next week feels better. So have a wonderful night, y'all. Randall says, never be sorry for that. It's a part of your culture. It is. You're right. Let's nitrogen charge this. Actually, first we're gonna mix it around to make sure everything is constituted. Then we charge it with nitrogen. Get that on there. Mix it around a little bit. Make sure we agitate it just a little bit. We're gonna let that sit to the side as we do funny things to our glass. Let me grab my guy back here. Oh, come on, This is not easy to do. 1 second. I have glasses stacked atop each other. There we go. I don't want that glass yet. Not just yet. Not just yet. Not just yet. There we go. I will need that stuff though. I realize that I chilled this glass ahead of time, but I'm gonna put stuff on the glass. So I don't know whether this is gonna work. I don't know whether you can very well rim a glass when it's chilled, but we're about to find out. So the idea here is we're gonna take some of our lemon juice. I'm just gonna kind of put it on the side of our glass. I'm gonna try to vaguely do it in the shape of a triangle, like a guitar pick. And then, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where's my oregano? Where's my oregano? Bring forth the oregano. Where'd the oregano go? Oh, here it is. I'm gonna take some oregano. I'm gonna put it on the side. I'm absolutely garnishing the side of this glass with oregano. It just feels appropriate. There we go. Smells like oregano. There we go. I love that. The seed. Experience the seed. There we go. So now what we're gonna do, in this glass, we're gonna start building our cocktail. This is a single ounce of your toasted oregano gin, 2 ounces of cold brew coffee, rapidly infused coffee, whatever coffee that you want to, espresso or otherwise, and then you top that off with chilled tonic water. There we go. So, let's grab some ice for this. I didn't grab that on my way over here. Sorry about that. Fill this up with ice, as much ice as I can. Well, that was intense. I hate these things. I hate these things so much. I bought these because I needed more ice containers. And I have lived to regret it. Get out of here. I hate those things. Get them out of here. Fill your glass with ice. Single ounce of toasted oregano gin. Or about 30 milliliters. Almost used the last of it. In the background, I'm going to take my pressurized container and void its contents into a spare glass. I got spare glasses around here. Right over here. Carefully, trying not to drip anything. No more pressure. Smells like coffee. I love that. Then we're gonna remove this. And I forgot about straining this thing, but I'm just gonna be careful. I need 2 full ounces of my rapidly infused cold brew, which should be pretty convenient if I put this over a strainer and apply it to the other side of my measuring majig. That should be easy, right? That should work out just fine, right? Oh my god, it's smoking. I love that. There we go. Let's try to get 2 ounces of coffee out of that. That is slowly but surely. Oh, there goes the coffee. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, there it goes. It's going. Oh, I'm pouring coffee everywhere. I did not think about this. Oh my goodness, that is so frothy. Holy crap, that is so frothy. Wow. That's about 2 ounces of rapidly infused cold brew. Wow. I completely forgot about this part of the process. Holy crap. I'm gonna put that away. Wow. Oh, it was on that side. Oh my god, yeah. Try to give the ice tray a little twist or bend it. I'm gonna wind up cracking it that way, Randall, but I'll give it a try next time. I'll take out my anger issues on it. They're not like issues, it's just a character trait. I'm gonna put this over here. There we go. Now, top it with some chilled tonic water. I have bits of coffee in there. It's okay. I'm the one drinking it, not y'all. Do this better. Do this better than I would. That's my suggestion. Don't do it like me. Do it your own way. We store tabs around here. Our friend's making chainmail. All right, let's cap things off. We'll put a little straw in there. Stir it around. This is Matt's father. It's got a bit of coffee grounds in it. We just have to move things forward. We have to move things forward over here. We're at the almost 2-hour mark and I got 3 more cocktails left. I said a little. Do not go ham on the poor ice tray. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my dad. My mom. My parents in any sense of the word. Father. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, man. It is, oh, so slightly tart from that tonic water. A very pleasant bitterness. There's a sourness that comes from the combination of that tonic water with the rapidly infused cold brew. And in the background, I'm getting a hint of the Italian flag. It's oregano-y. It's ginny. It's floral in a way that is kind of hard to piece apart completely from the coffee. Depending on what coffee you use, your mileage is going to vary. Depending on what tonic water you use, your mileage is going to vary here. But all together, this is a lot of grounds in it. This is a very dirty drink. But overall, it's so refreshing. It's such a refreshing drink. And it's properly caffeinated. It's very, very tasty. There's that bubbliness that you get on your tongue when you taste carbonated things, and that just goes so pleasantly here. It's interesting to describe that taste of oregano, that leafy, powerful, charred oregano note is existing on my tongue as I feel like the tiny little micro bubbles from the, I'm guessing, carbon dioxide inside of the tonic water kind of bubble out of solution. And because we rapidly infuse the cold brew, there's probably some nitrogen in there too. That's cool. I like that. Just crunch the heck out of those freezer trays. So now I'm curious too. I rimmed the side of this glass with oregano because I'm a madman, and I kind of want to see what happens if I just drink it from the side. Yeah, that's weird. It's bitter. It's bitter. It tastes like, it's toasty. It's very, very toasty. The lemon juice that I used on the side, that's pretty good. I wouldn't recommend putting your tongue on it. It's just there for decoration. But it's tasty. Very, very tasty. Very good. So that was Matt's father. I'll admit, I did not properly strain out those coffee grounds. If you're going to do this on your own, you could probably use some cheesecloth. I do have cheesecloth down here, but I honestly thought that the strainer trick was going to work faster. This is just a lesson that I'm going to put into the book. So this is okay. Randall suggests silicone ice trays, 10-pound hand sledgehammer on the towel for crushed ice. Randall, have you ever seen me crush ice on this stream? I love that energy. Very much so. Because there is a there's a comically large wrench around here somewhere that I use for crushing ice sometimes. Oh, here it is. Do some squats. What perfect timing. I'm just squatting down so I could show you this giant-ass monkey wrench that we sometimes use for crushing ice. It's wonderful! I'm gonna put this back down, trying not to hurt myself as I finagle between my cheesecloth and whatnot. And then we'll do a little bit of cleanup over here. There's actually not much cleanup that we need to do. I just kind of need to get like a thing for this. Oh, you know what? We went to the Enchanted Rose at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort, and this feels very fitting for Matt. R.I.P. Rosa. That's gonna go in the back over here. Ooh. Excuse me. So we're at 4 out of 5 drinks so far. We have created a drink for Brian, a drink for Robert. We've created a drink for Joseph and a drink for Matt so far. There are 3 other dads that we dated in Dream Daddy. And as we move on to the next one, we can see that the next one that we dated is Damien Blood March. Damien Blood March. I freaking Damien's wonderful. I love Damien. That whole Victorian aesthetic is something that I'm totally into. I appreciate. Excuse me, I got oregano in my throat. Oh my goodness.
Smells like oregano.
It smells like oregano. It tastes like oregano. It breathes like oregano. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm alive. At least I didn't swallow like a butterfly wing or anything. That'd be oddly appropriate here. Or otherwise. Maybe I should get you the Power Plant Monkey Wrench. It weighs 65 pounds, makes crushed ice easily, and is a workout just to lift. 65 pounds of a monkey wrench? I feel like I saw that in an anime one time. That's big wrench energy, my guy. I appreciate that. It's very good. So, one of the things that I thought was cool about Damien, aside from literally his entire aesthetic, he's got this wonderful house. He's got a garden in the back. He's got this wonderful collection of butterflies that he does. He does butterfly stuff. He taxidermies butterflies and moths and stuff. And if you didn't know, the scientific name for the study of butterflies is lepidopterology, maybe? Lepidoptery? Anyways, this is Damien's Lepidoptera. It's a cocktail that embodies the beauty of a butterfly flying through a well-kept Victorian garden as you promenade through the countryside. It's wonderful. It's a real wrench too, which is incredible. Butterflies are also real. Segway, so they say. But so Damien's Lepidoptera, when we dated Damien, he has a phrase that he uses of, you really took the egg on this one. And it's apparently a Victorian era phrase. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, his drink is definitely going to have egg in it. And technically, as I was going through the classifications of some of these drinks, we didn't really have a flip yet. So I wanted to use some of that egg yolk and put it into a cocktail that is, I wanted it to be like a dark purple color, like Damien, maybe give it a little bit of a blood motif, but there was so much going on with the theming. I was like, I gotta dial back on this one and stick with something that I feel more embodies Damien's like personality and stuff. It is regal. It hides something a little down beneath, but I really appreciate his persona. And all in all, it's got a softness to it that I think is very, very appreciable. And so this drink is attempting not to be... This was kind of my way of playing around with balance, with a bunch of different flavors all playing together. And I wouldn't say that I landed at the very particular mark in the middle of balance. But I tried a little bit along the way. So that's enough of my self-criticism out of the way. Let's see where that goes when we actually have a cocktail in hand. Lepidopterology. Philately is philately is the collection and love of stamps. Oh, philately. Lepidopterology. I dig that. I dig that very much. Here's Damien's Lepidoptera. We need shaking apparatus. Here we go. I'll do this cool trick where I throw it in the air and then catch it, and then I do it with the other one too and catch the same thing. Isn't that so cool? Man, I love flare tending. Let's get that egg yolk that I cracked earlier. Not very flaringly. Oh, and the container's upside down. Oh, Cameron. Oh, man. It's still fresh, y'all. I'm using it. Oh, man, y'all. This is... We're gonna crack open the egg yolk from earlier. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're putting that in our mouth, y'all. That is gooey. That is gooey. The bucket is gonna take care of you. That's so wonderful. Oh my god. I shared my love of Chinar on the drinks channel today. It's great. Dude, Chinar is an artichoke containing aperitif. I don't think anybody would say that it actually tastes like artichokes. It's just like flavored with some of the components. It brands itself as such. Let me pull out the bottle of Chinar that we have. This is Chinar. It's literally got an artichoke on the front. Like, this is what it is. Does it really I don't even know what an artichoke tastes like, to be honest. What's the red bottle next to Luigi? I have just noticed it and I'm interested. It looks interesting. This is a bottle of what I like to call Doritos Distillate. It is a collaboration between the Empirical Spirits Company and Doritos. They took Doritos and distilled them. They will not be making an appearance in tonight's cocktails. However, as we get into the weird world of Undertale, which is the next playthrough that we're doing, by the way, I could imagine Doritos popping up again somewhere in the future. So what we need in this drink glass is our egg yolk, which we have already, an ounce and a quarter. Is that what I did there? An ounce and a quarter of cognac brandy. We pulled out earlier. This gets dry shaken, so we're not adding any ice just yet. Grab apparatus over here. Let's do a full ounce and a quarter. It's like 37 milliliters of cognac. Quarter. There we go. Not too much of it. Not too many of it, too. I'd like to try that. May have to look for it. If you are trying to look for it, Randall, I just want to say be careful. Because unless you buy it conveniently in the liquor store that's close to you, who doesn't really know what they're selling, it's going to be costly. It's costly. When I looked online, so it's not sold. The Empirical website is sold out right now, so they'll probably do another release of that eventually. If you try to buy a bottle of it, from what I can find, it's upwards of $80 to like $100 something. We found it, actually, Disney Queen found it at a local New Jersey liquor store for $62, which is cheaper than what they sold it for on their website. I was like, this is so cool. So we really lucked out on that one. Next, we're gonna add 3/4 of an ounce of Chambord. Chambord, I don't think has made an appearance on the stream, like, at all, but I always have it on hand. It is a black raspberry liqueur. 3/4 of an ounce of black raspberry liqueur. This has wonderful notes of vanilla to it. It is based in cognac, and so because I was using the Chambord in this, that's why I went with the cognac base. Put this over here for now. I have so many what kind of Undertale run questions. What kind of underrun? Oh, we're gonna do a pacifist run first, true pacifist, and then genocide. I've never done a genocide run before. I've always wanted to try it. Conveniently, I did the true pacifist run with Anna many years ago, and that was a lot of fun. Next, we're gonna add a half an ounce, or about 15 milliliters of creme de violet, specifically Gifford. This is a new bottle here at the bar with an X, and it is delightful. Oh, Brad giving the gift to Randall. Nice job there, y'all. We love to see that around here. Very, very good. Creme de violets tastes like violets. It's wonderful. It's very, very floral, and we're adding 15 milliliters, or about a half an ounce of it. It is also noticeably purple. I kind of went with all the purple and dark ingredients on this one, and it kind of worked out. Not gonna lie, it was really, really good. Next, we need half an ounce of Chinar. I think I believe it's Chinar, not Chinar. I think it's Chinar. It's not Kynar, I know that's the case. Half an ounce, 15 milliliters. Pour it on your fingers if you're feeling spicy. Or savory, I suppose. I'm running out of space over here for bottles. This is getting messy over here. We got a very small bar. This is kind of just what we work with. So now, ooh, this is my favorite part. My favorite part here. Ugh, you need a hat. Well, I say Chinar. We can put a tiny little hat on over here. What do we got? What do we got? Let's put, there we go. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. I'm gonna put him on the back. Now, I haven't done the party hat stuff for a while. I don't know. That was getting a little... I gotta figure out something else to do for subs and stuff. Chinar, but I also don't know how to say it. That's fair. I need somebody from the native land of wherever this is from. I'm gonna guess... Oh, it says bottled by Campari in New York, so there's that. We're gonna add 4 to 5 dashes of walnuts. No, not walnut. Black cardamom bitters. When we were down talking with our friends at the Philadelphia distillers, I don't remember the place called. I think it's Philadelphia Libations Company down at Reading Terminal Market. We chatted around a little bit, and I got to try these black walnut bitters by Jack's, a local Philadelphia local, I believe. They're so good. They got notes of like black walnut to them, a couple of other like nutty other notes there. It's super duper great. So we're gonna add 4 to 5 dashes of this. I'm gonna go with 4 on this one. You don't need that much of it. It is noticeable. And I love it. Let's put this guy over here. Woo! There we go. Randall says, thank you. We'll cherish it forever. Why do streamers that are amazing on their own also have the best mods as well? Dude, Brad is wonderful. Brad is absolutely delightful. If you ever cross paths with More Than Awesome, you will know that his name lives up to the individual. So now that we've combined everything together, we've got our black cardamom bitters, we got our Chinar, we've got our creme de violet, we've got our Chambord and our cognac and our egg yolk. We're gonna dry shake this all together, get it all constituted, and then do other stuff with it. So let's go for it. All right, let's go grab some ice. Add that to our container and wet shake it. Need a big cube. Where my big cubes at? I got a couple of little cubes. Here's a couple of little cubes. You're going in there. You're gonna get comfortable with each other. And I think, do I have one more big ice cube in here? I did. That's convenient. I really like it when I pull that last ice cube out, because then it just makes cleanup easier for me. I can just put this over here and remember later that I just have to fill up on ice. All right, let's combine together and wet shake this. We're also going to grab our garnishing stuff in a little bit. I'm not actually quite ready to do that yet. And now let's give this a shake. Wet shake, the wettest of shakes. Thank you all for your kind words out there. I love being able to treat the important people in my life. And Brad, actually, it's wonderful. I met Brad. Oh my God, dude. I met Brad because of these streams, and we were very, very fast friends. He's actually made the journey here to the bar with an X at least once. And it's a joy to have him. Let's grab our glass, which has been chilling off screen for a little while. I'm gonna pull the cocktail angle over here because we're gonna do a little bit of creative garnishing with this guy. This is called Damien's Lepidoptera for more than one reason. Put you back here. I have my glass over here. Let's put this jigger out of the way. A little extra liquid before combining together. We're gonna double strain this. There's one over top. I don't have another mesh strainer over here. That is unfortunate. Oh my goodness, because I used it for the coffee. I've run out of mesh strainers. That's so unfortunate. Okay, I'm gonna use this grater instead. That's not gonna work. No, I'm gonna bite the bullet on this one. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't have enough fine mesh strainers around here. I'll pour that over the top. It's not purple. I am aware of its lack of purpleness, and that's okay with me. People wash ice trays. You're freezing water. Cleanup is as easy as refilling and freezing. It's so true. That's how I clean the ice cube trays. One day our queen would have us all hang out in Disney together. I want to see that happen. I want to do more of these little like meetup things where we all go to like bars and stuff in somebody's like area. I want to do more content like that. It's so fun. I'm gonna grab 2 more things to garnish this with. This is, so far, not a very Damien feeling drink. It kind of looks very brown. It smells like a flower, but it needs other pieces to it. So I'm going to take a little piece out of one of my books over here. It's a little post-it note. And I'm going to grab, off screen, I took some butterfly pea flour, and I blended it all in a food processor and then fine strained it. And we're just going to kind of put this over the side of our glass. Over here, I'm using a post-it note. And I'm just gonna kind of... Actually, can I just do it on this side? Bet I totally can. Bet I totally can. Hell yeah, I can. And the idea is to just kind of like... lightly go over one side of this. I'm really bad at this. I'm gonna use a coaster instead. I'm gonna use this coaster instead. I feel like it's gonna make it easier on me. I do not have very steady hands. Not for this stuff. Let's see if this works. I could have done that better. But here's our flowers. Now, here's the fun part. Knock the drink over, Cameron. Do it. Do it, my guy. There's a little butterfly. There we go. This is lovely. We went to the flower show here in Philadelphia, and somebody was selling these cute, so precious little glass things, and I was like, I need a butterfly for Damien! And so I got it. And this is our little, this is not just anybody's Lepidoptera, Damien's Lepidoptera. A floral cocktail. Very good. It was a lot of fun. All right, perfect. After the 50th or so freeze, says Randall, the ice does build up a little bit. Yeah, my silicone containers, I've used them for quite a while. I think I need to replace them because I'm starting to get like I can start to taste the silicone. And that's when they're pretty cheap. You can just pick up more. I don't really know the proper way of recycling this stuff though. If anybody has advice on that, I don't really know what to do with it, to be perfectly honest. But so, this is Damien's Lepidoptera. It is a sort of interesting floral flip, inspired by our walks through the meadows, inspired by Damien's love of taxidermying various different types of butterflies and moths, and just overall, like, I love their personality. So I go with it. Love his personality. All right, you should try a pepper grinder, less likely to go overboard and is freshly ground. I could also, I've been given this advice before. You can use a fine mesh strainer to also control the flow of stuff, and I just ran out this time, so I apologize for that. I kind of wanted to get a new fridge after discovering our friends have a fancy ice setting. Fancy ice. Right on the nose, it says very floral. Nicely floral. And when you go for it, it is so... This one is very, very intriguing. It is so lovely floral. The creme de violet, if you use too much of it, and I think I kind of used too much of it here, is so potent through there, but combined with that egg yolk and that creamy texture, it's delightful. Reflecting on the Disney trip we just had, they served us a lavender fog drink that had a texture almost exactly like this. I don't know if they actually used egg yolk in it. I'm also not as sure whether they used a specific creme de violet. It was a lavender fog, so maybe they had like a creme de lavender that they used there. But this is a very, very similar mouthfeel to that. It's not super bitter. Has a pleasant bitterness to it, and that's coming from a little bit of those black cardamom bitters, a bit from that chinar. It's kind of like, it's got a lot going on to it. It's a very, very pleasant sip, but it's very interesting, just in the way that everything kind of melds together. It's what I would imagine drinking the flower would be like. And to kind of walk you through the evolution of this a little bit, right up front, it is a sweet floral violet, I suppose. It's creme de violet. That makes sense there. It edges into things that are a little more vanilla-like, a bit more fruit-like, coming in part from that chambord that's in there. I can taste the chambord. When it comes to the type of sweetness I'm tasting, it sits on my tongue like chambord does. Aside from that, the texture carries it back to the next part of the drink experience where it moves toward the back of my tongue and it kind of warms up a little bit as it really gets back there. The black cardamom bitters have an air to them that reminds me of nocino. It reminds me of black walnut, and it sticks around back there. But not only does it stick around with that air of black walnut, black cardamom, and warmth and spiciness, it sticks around with that almost creaminess that comes about from that egg yolk, just because of the way that it like interacts with all the other ingredients in there. It's really, really cool. But like the thing that I am most critical about in this case is the fact that it's a little too forward on the floral there. I feel like I want to appreciate the chinar a little bit more. I want to appreciate the brandy, the cognac base a little bit more. But I haven't quite gotten there yet. There's just a lot going on with this. But overall, it's really, really tasty, and it's, honestly, I haven't made many good flips before, but I'm really proud of this one. So I like that. That's for Damien. That's for our dad, Damien. I'll put this guy over here on one of my other enchanted rose things. And we'll move on. We got 2 more cocktails with the evening. Oh, Death Flip was very, very good. Oh, absolutely it was. I'll note that this little butterfly doesn't... Oh, actually, it stayed pretty well. What am I talking about? Here we go. I want to kind of get this angle. That's a very interesting... I actually love the way... Wow, I love the way that looks from that angle. Look at that, right over here. That's beautiful looking. I love that. Okay, let's move on to cocktail number 6. 6 out of 7. My goodness, we're almost done around here. We're on Craig now. Oh, Craig. Oh my God, Craig. This is gonna be a fun one. Let me do a little cleanup over here first. This is a weird one, y'all. This is a weird one. Protein bro, Craig. Oh, that boy Craig. We knew him in college. He's got twins. He's got another baby, less than a year old. That beautiful little river. Keg Stand Craig, as they used to call him, was the beer guy in school. I originally thought, when making a cocktail for Craig, that I could make a beer cocktail, right? We just take beer and we add it to something. What will we add beer to? I don't really know. I was distracted by the existence of a proteinaceous beer or selection of beers that exist in the world. And leading up to just about a week and a half ago, I was trying to find ways to source the protein beer, and I didn't actually wind up purchasing any. I was trying to source it locally. I wasn't able to find anything that didn't require me to drive all the way out to the westernmost parts of Pennsylvania and do like a 6-hour round trip, and there was too much going on, so I wasn't able to get my hands on a protein beer specifically. But we were messing around a bit with protein shakes a couple of days ago, just to see whether or not this tastes good with any combination of spirits out there. Long story short, this goes really well with Jägermeister. It goes pretty well with any sort of flavored schnapps. It goes even better well with a bit of kind of Scotch was okay. The vodka was pretty good. The tequila was kind of vegetable. That was nice. It does not go well with Cognac. Tasted like Band-Aid. Did not go well with at least a funky Jamaican rum like Appleton Estate. We tried this plus this, and it was no good. I would not recommend that to absolutely anybody. But your mileage may vary depending on what kind of protein shake that you have here. The thought occurred to me shortly after that stream happened. Milk clarification is a thing. What is it about milk that allows it to clarify? What is it about milk that makes it curdle? And I'm not even gonna give you the details. I'm just gonna show you because I want you to experience this as well. So, first what we're gonna do, we're gonna put ourselves in the zone of a proteinaceous fellow who's trying as much as he can to build up his muscles, but also get a little turnt at the same time. What the heck would you do with that? Let me find an appropriate container around here. Oh, here we go. Oh. Yeah, we do. Let's watch shit happen. Come here, cocktail angle. If I'm suffering, y'all are suffering too. So we have this Equate protein shake here. This is 11 ounces, max protein, 30 grams of protein per serving, and 170 calories only. If you were a protein man, you might want to make yourself a protein shake. Let's start with a whole thing of protein shake. We're gonna pour the whole gambit in there. Pour the whole thing in there. This is going to be the makings of the most excellent protein shake you've ever had. And it's gonna be boozy too. What will we do after that? What are we gonna add after our protein shake mixture? Well, if I were Craig, I have a daughter named River, I have a daughter named Briar, and I have a daughter named Hazel. Now, maybe I wasn't thinking of the name River yet. I was still dating Smashly from my college years, who would later become my wife and then correspondingly ex-wife after a while. But I think I already knew if I was gonna have a girl, I'd name her Hazel, after my favorite type of iced coffee, hazelnut. So I went with, where's my thingy? There's my thingy. I decided to spike my protein shake with hazelnut liqueur. Just an ounce. We don't need that much of it in there. Just enough to really get the gears rolling. If I had 11 ounces of protein shake, I'm gonna add 1 full ounce of my hazelnut. Because that sounds good. That sounds tasty. Hazelnut, vanilla, that makes sense together. I've had lattes that use hazelnut in it, right? It makes total sense. And then I guess, okay, well, hazelnut. If I had a second daughter, I'd probably name her Briar. Briar what? Briar Rose? Nah, not Briar Rose. Briar, starts with a B. The butterscotch. That's what I'll add to it. I'll take some butterscotch schnapps. I'll add it in there too. Let's keep it equals, right? We're doing this via chance, not for any particular reason. I had no idea that I was gonna have twins. It's just a coincidence. But now, you know, protein shakes, proteinaceous. Protein shake, it's got some alcohol in it. We need to even it out with something a little more work that body like, scary feet. What else am I adding in here, right? What else would I add to this? I would add lemon juice, not freshly squeezed lemon juice. Who's got time for a freshly squeezed lemon juice? I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going to the local Giant down the street, and I'm getting whatever I can find off the shelf. I want lemon juice. Why do I want lemon juice? Because, like, sourness, right? If I want electrolytes in my body, there's gonna be a little bit of salt in there, maybe a little Gatorade. I've had a lemon Gatorade before, a lemonade, and I think that this would go great in my protein shake. So I begin to mix up my shake mistakenly, because me, Craig, as yet uneducated college student, didn't realize that if you take protein shake mix, or protein shake, which has components of milk in it, and add acid to it, weird things happen. So I combine it together, thinking nothing of it. And I add 3 ounces of my lemon juice. Because it just feels like it tastes better that way. So then I sit, and I wait. I consider, as I walk away, considering what other type of boozy alcohol that I could add to this. I'm thinking about vodka, I'm thinking about Everclear. What do I really want to get myself turnt with? I come back and I notice that things are bubbly. Things are looking kind of weird. Things are looking a lot thicker than I thought they were. It's got a weird coloration to it. I don't know what's happening to the side of my glass. What the heck is happening to my glass over here? It's curdling, Craig. You curdled it. So now that we have a curdled protein shake mix, what do you do with curdled protein shake mix? Well, being the educated, or soon-to-be educated individual that we are, for science, we move it around a little bit, and we notice it's got a film at the top. We notice that there's actually a bit of liquid parts to it, but there's also a lot of bubbles to it. The solid parts are gross. They taste sour and rather unpleasant. And we think to ourselves, Craig, I am Craig. And Craig thinks to himself, okay, well, if the solid part tastes weird, maybe all of the sour solid stuff stayed together and the non-sour parts are on the other side if I just clear this thing out. And you would be correct, Craig. And I'm glad you thought of it, because if you take this mixture and you strain it, you get something like this. Clarified, equate, vanilla, hazel, lemon, butterscotch stuff. This is Craig's protein mixture that's been clarified. Clarified and otherwise. If you were to take this, let it sit for a little while, and completely strain it out, you will get a liquid that looks like this. It's not the clearest thing, and I probably could have done a better clarifying job, but it is what it is, and it is significantly less sour than the curds. It's not the best tasting thing on its own, but it's recoverable. So let's try this. Our Craig protein mixture. How does this taste on its own? This is just clarified, equate, with a bit of lemon juice, some hazelnut liqueur, and a bit of butterscotch liqueur because I felt like that made sense at the time. All in all, it's cold, it's light, tastes a little artificial, but it's not as sour as it was before. And I assume, being the smart man that I am, that there's probably still some protein left in this. So let's take this mixture, this abomination, which is now significantly curdled up, and put it away. I don't want that yet. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. And we're gonna make this into a cocktail instead. So after the Craig mixture got a little weird, I figured, what the heck can you do with this? I figured it was probably gonna be a little sour-like, so I figured we'd try it in a little daiquiri thing. This is my attempt at incorporating actual protein into a drink to make it taste good. And I'm just gonna show you how to make it, because I think it came out really, really weird. So let's grab a shaking apparatus. We're gonna add our ingredients as such. We're gonna take 1.5 ounces of white rum, because we're basing this off of a daiquiri recipe. So I don't want anything too fancy, just a very plain rum, something that's got a base of sugar to it. And I want 1.5 ounces of that. I'm gonna pour this over ice. I'm gonna grab my ice in addition to what I'm doing here. I added 2 ounces there by accident. So let's measure out. Let's take half of that back out. That was a boo-boo on my part. Got a couple of drinks in me so far. Quite a few, actually. So we're working with what we got. Now, my Bacardi away. Don't need that anymore. I'm gonna grab my ice from the freezer. I need a couple little cubes and a big old cube. I'm gonna put that on the side. It doesn't yet have anything in it. There we go. One big old cube. Plenty of ice for these streams. Plenty of ice. There we go. Next, after we've added our rum, we're gonna add, it says, 1 ounce of our Craig mixture. Clarified specifically. That's about 30 milliliters. Craig mixture. Next, I'm gonna add 1/4 ounce of lemon juice. I'll actually freshly squeeze this one. This one isn't too difficult to do, because I already have a piece of a lemon available. Do 1/4 ounce, about 7 milliliters of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Put the rest of that lemon away. I don't know if we'll actually be using that anymore this stream. But it could just become juice for a future stream, which all makes sense. It all winds up working out together here. Next, we'll add 1/4 ounce of vanilla syrup. When I was playing around with this, I was like, a lot of the vanilla flavor just kind of like disappeared during the clarification process, and I kind of wanted a bit of that back. So I bought this little thing of Tirani. This goes really, really well in like lattes and stuff. Just 1/4 ounce. Not too much of it. Just a little bit. Now we shake it all up, and then we're gonna strain it into a glass that we've rimmed properly with some salt. So let's combine liquids into solids. Give it a slap, and go for it. Let's grab our glass from the freezer. Got this guy over here. I need the cocktail angle over here. We're gonna take our our lemon piece. I'm gonna take half of this glass and rim it with a bit of salt. And the only reason I do it this way, is that I want to, is because I imagine if we're gym bro, we're trying to do our workouts, then I imagine that we would have electrolytes. That was that Gatorade part from earlier. So, purely for the optionality of the imbiber, we're gonna put some salt on the rim. At least you try to. I could probably have more salt on this thing. I need more salt. There we go. Now, traditionally, if you were to do something like a margarita, for example, some people might feel like they want to rim the entire side of the glass. I actually was reading in the Cocktail Codex book that they tend to add only half a rim to their cocktails because when you add like a lemon wedge or a lime wedge or some sort of rim, not everybody wants that flavor in their drink. So the idea is to kind of put it on the side in a way that's not necessarily obstructive to give the drinker kind of optionality as they drink their cocktail to drink it the way that they want to. And so if you really wanted to go full energy and use the salt, you can. And we'll be trying both of those because I'm honestly very, very curious. So we're gonna strain that over top. And I've actually run out of strainers. Wow, I've run out of strainers, wow. This is Craig's Mishshake. Protein Mishshake. And a potential mishshake it could be. We appreciate the idea of the optional garnish. So, yeah. This is a sort of daiquiri type cocktail that could have protein in it, maybe. Right off the nose, it really doesn't smell that unpleasant. It does kind of smell a little bit like the protein shake, but a lot of those notes of like the artificial vanilla and stuff has kind of subsided. It's a very pretty looking drink. And you might be inclined to think that maybe this is sugar and stuff on the side. Nah, it's just salt. Let's go in for it without the salt first and see what happens. You know, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. That's honestly not too bad. It is vanilla artificially. Definitely. There's a sourness to it that's actually kind of right. It's not incredibly unpleasant. It is almost, I wouldn't even call it specifically vanilla. I wouldn't even really call it specifically lemon either. It's just kind of a general cold tartness with an aftertaste that's really sticky. I'm gonna see whether anything changes when I add a little electrolytes to it. It's salt. It's just salt. Yeah, no, I don't like that. That's too much salt. I feel like if we were gonna try to do something different with this, maybe we would have gone with the sugar instead. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that goes with the salt. Oh, but you know, maybe tongue first, then salt. It could be worse. Could definitely be worse. I have no idea how to measure how much protein is in a thing, but there must be at least a little bit of it, because look at the froth on this thing. That's wild. The fact that it has such a prominent froth to it is very, 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 very interesting. And all because of this thing. Oh, it came from a protein shake. So can it be done? Can you create a delicious drink by clarifying a pre-made vanilla artificially flavored max protein shake? The answer is yes. And to our gym bros out there who are trying to get creative, this is an option for you. I don't know if it's the right option. Honestly, my suggestion, take some protein powder, some Irish cream, just blend it together. It's basically no different than just milk and protein powder together. It's no different than your milkshakes already. Just feels a little bit better that way. So this is our, what was it? What did I call this thing? Craig's Mishshake. Craig's Mishshake. That's what we called it over here. And I'm gonna put that to the side because I don't need that anymore. Nope. No more. I'll put that over here. Let me scooch you back a tad. That was the Lepidoptera. And there's one other cocktail for a minute. I've got one other cocktail for y'all this evening. The final dad that we dated in Dream Daddy was Hugo. Hugo Vega, I believe his last name was. I loved Hugo's story too. He was a bit insecure about his love of wrestling. And by the end of it, you're able to take him out to a WWE, like a big league wrestling match. And you're just like, honestly, I love to be able to see somebody who is just generally very, very into their passions and unapologetically about it. And that was the intent of the story. It was you kind of seeing Hugo for who he is as the teacher, being the, you know, fine and studious individual that he is and the way that he conducts himself with his students, to digging a little bit deeper, layer by layer, almost like the layers of pieces on a charcuterie board, I suppose, to try to bring it back to like a cheese analogy. He's also really into cheese. He loves to go to the local like cheese and wine pairing place for trivia nights. And there it occurred to me, one of the cheese boards that you get utilized, I think there was some dried apricot on it. They talked about mint juleps for wrestling. There was some Brie on it. And I was like, Brie. A while ago, when I was doing research for Hugo's cocktails originally, he had mentioned in one of his optional choices, Havarti cheese specifically. So back when I was thinking about what I want to do for Hugo, I bought some Havarti cheese, and a recipe online said to combine it with a bit of salt and a bit of watermelon and a little bit of mint or arugula, and you put that all together on a little skewer, and it tasted delightful. And I loved that. And I was like, this is going to be my cocktail. It didn't actually become the cocktail, and that's honestly just fine. But what did stick around was the idea that I wanted to try something in these that was kind of, I wanted to combine cheese with something, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And a last minute decision of mine was to go out and grab some Brie, which my dearest did help me out with. She was the one who actually went to the store to go grab it. Bye-bye, my love. Right on cue, too.
Hi, chat.
Good night, Anna. Good night, my baby. But so we found Brie cheese at the store, and apparently, if you look up on the internet, Brie goes well with apple slices and apple. So, what if we took Applejack and we combined it? Wait for it. Oh, the eggs are on top of my cheese. That's not a good look. I don't want to break any more eggs. And if you combined the Applejack with Brie cheese, because I saw somebody on the internet give a suggestion. I think it was on r/mixology. Somebody out there, and I cannot remember their username, is responsible for me trying to put these two things together. And my God, I did. And you know what? It kind of worked. Oddly enough, this is a bottle of Applejack. This is a bottle of Applejack that's had Brie sitting in it for a certain amount of time. I took some pieces of this Brie cheese, put it inside of some Applejack, let that sit for a little while at room temperature, and then I put it in the freezer. And after everything's separated, I strained the whole thing out, and I came up with these two things here. So let's try Brie-infused Applejack next to actual Applejack, and then turn this into a little martini recipe. Let's see how that goes. I need 2 tasting apparatus. Let's go with these guys over here. There we go. I've got one on this side and one on the other one. A little bit of Brie-infused Applejack and a little bit of regular infused Applejack. Applejack, for those who don't know, is a spirit that is traditionally made by jacking apple cider, which essentially means you take the apple cider, you freeze a bit of it, the alcoholic apple cider, by the way, you freeze it, and then the parts that don't freeze are the parts that have more alcohol in them. The alcohol has a lower freezing point than water. So when you take out the liquids and you put it into something else, you're essentially distilling it because you're taking out the correspondingly higher proof portion of the solution and putting it elsewhere, which would become your Applejack. I don't know exactly how Laird's does theirs. I want to say it's traditional, but I could potentially be wrong on that. So our regular Applejack, right off the bat, smells lovely. Brandy, very nice apple-y notes to them, kind of like a sweeter apple. Ooh. That's nice. That's nice. It's got a tingliness. It's got a tingliness that reminds me of like the taste of an apple itself. Now, does it taste exactly like apple? To each their own. But it is definitely a brandy, and it's definitely more tingly of a brandy, definitely more tart of a brandy than other brandies that you can get your hands on. And the Brie-infused, cheese-infused stuff. I was bracing myself for that. It does taste like Applejack, but it also really tastes like Brie. It is cheesy. It is salty. It is undeniably breezy. It's not easy. It is definitely breezy. It is beautiful in its own way. Cover girl. That is very Brie forward. It is very Brie forward, but it does have some of those notes of apple that still stick around. There's a sort of dryness to the brandy, to the Applejack, that does stick around and lend itself into this. I'll also note too that the difference in color between these things is like magnificent. When I took the Brie and I put it in with the Applejack, it like completely stripped out all of the color from it. It was very, very interesting, and I don't know if this uses any sort of like artificial color or anything. So whatever brings the color to the Applejack, which I would assume is brought about from aging in oak barrels, apparently gets removed when you put cheese in it, which is really, really interesting. So I'll put this off to the side, or put our Brie stuff off to the side, and we're gonna do a very, very easy Brie Martini. This is Hugo's Brie Martini. It is inspired by his love of the cheese. And just, you know, he's a teacher. Teachers tend to get apples, I guess. You could come up with reasons for that. I kind of like the idea of saying, my original idea was to do an apple-based cocktail for him and maybe add some cheese stuff to it, because I thought, oh, he's a teacher. Teachers get apples because that's like the traditional thing to do. And I wasn't thinking about that when I combined the Brie and the Applejack together. It just kind of happened more or less authentically. So I'm retroactively saying, oh yes, the apple goes for the teacher. That's exactly what we're intending to do here. So let me grab my stirring apparatus. I'm gonna grab myself an ice cube, and we'll be on with it. We'll be on with it. This is going to be strained into a martini glass, not on the rocks. We're serving it up. So we only need 1 cube for this. I have it chilling. I've been trying to get a little bit better with my chilling. And it has been working. It has been working very, very well. So what we're going to add is 1.5 ounces of our Brie-infused Applejack. There's a large proportion of it. 1.5 ounces, or about 44 milliliters. It is very, very clear. The idea is to take some of the base of this Brie-infused Applejack, which is just the Applejack, and add a little bit of it back. So in addition to our 1.5 ounces of the Brie-infused Applejack, we're going to take 1/2 ounce, or about 15 milliliters, of just Applejack. And then add a little bit of sweet, not sweet, dry vermouth. I had noticed that when I was playing around with this, that my Noilly Prat bottle has probably been sitting for a little bit longer. Because this is an aromatized wine, I don't know if you would technically consider it fortified, but you can add like that inert gas from earlier to your vermouth bottles to keep them fresher for a little bit longer. I have not been very good with this dry vermouth bottle, so it's a bit more sour, it's a bit more vinegary, but it actually kind of worked for this cocktail the way that I mixed it. Your mileage will vary depending on what kind of dry vermouth that you use, how long it's been sitting for, and, you know, how vigilant you are with trying to keep it well. But for this purpose, we're kind of mimicking this is a total of a 4-to-1 ratio of, oh, not even 4-to-1. This is 2 full ounces to 0.25. So it's a total of 5. It's 4 parts of your, it's not gin in this case, your Martini dry spirit, in addition to 1 part of your dry vermouth spirit. It's not really the dry part, it's just when you make a Martini drier, you add more spirit to it, not vermouth, despite the fact that it would usually be dry vermouth. That is not how the terminology works. I learned that here on stream, actually. Somebody came in and corrected me on that. We do cocktail lessons with correction. All right, and now we're just gonna stir that. And then we're gonna strain it into a chilled Martini glass. Final drink of the night. Woo! We made it. We made it, y'all. This is great. This is great. Also, I just noticed that the chat on the bottom of the screen is not accurate. I just noticed how behind that is. Interesting. I don't really know why that is. What are you doing, horizontal chat? Let's refresh you. I don't really know why that's doing that. There we go. I don't know what happened there. That was interesting. Anyways, just clear that for a little bit. Quick, somebody test chat. Just hoping it works again. Sometimes Streamlabs likes to be difficult. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's rather frustrating. All right. We have stirred. Now we will strain. Ah, perfect. It's working now. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. I look at my notes. Prepare, garnish, stir, and strain. So now what we'll do is I'm going to go into a little bag that I got sitting off the side somewhere. Where's my bag? I put this thing somewhere. Oh, there you are. There you are. Because, allegedly, Brie also goes well with dried apricots. We picked up some dried apricots from the store. We also have some Brie cheese. So the idea here is to make a garnish with the both of them. We'll see if it works. Let's grab a knife. I'm gonna grab the paring knife that I was using earlier. I kind of want to give that a clean. We're gonna take just a slice of this Brie cheese. A slice of it. Brie is very, very creamy. So be careful. There we go. Got a slice of our Brie cheese. I'm gonna wind up eating this throughout the rest of the week. I love cheese. I love cheese so, so much. I'm gonna grab a skewer from over here. Gotta get one of these bamboo skewers over here. Actually, let's do this guy. Let's do this guy. I got this little pointy stick thing from Maggiano's. I'm gonna stab this through this way with my skewer. Trying not to poke myself, but if it happens, that's just the cost of doing business. There we go. Little piece of Brie cheese. Little piece of Brie cheese. And then we'll add, excuse me a moment, a dried apricot. Stab it all the way through the end. Long end. The long end. The idea here is the apricot is going to go into the drink. The Brie is going to sit outside of the drink. The drink already tastes enough like Brie, at least when I was mixing it. We don't need it to taste more like Brie, but those hints of apricot can be appreciable if they slowly infuse into the cocktail itself. So let me grab my chilled glass now that I've got everything put together. Here we go. And we'll add our garnish to the side. Kind of hanging off there. And I ran out of strainers, so I'm using my finger on this one. We'll pour over top of that dried apricot. There we go. So for Hugo, we have our Brie Martini. It is fragrant. It really does smell prominently of apple. Like those apple notes from the Applejack that I was describing early, where it's a little like, it's a little tart smelling. It's got a pleasant freshness to it. I'm smelling that here. Honestly, I don't smell much of the Brie, but the Brie infusion was very potent on that. It was great. You smell this? Let's go for it. It's not bad. See, there's a thing about this. It tastes like cheese, but it also kind of tastes like apple skin. There is just this subtle note of apple that just like supports the weird saltiness. The weird, I don't really know how to describe the taste of Brie. I wouldn't call it creamy. I wouldn't call it sour. I wouldn't even call it really cheesy. It's just Brie-y. But that Brie-ness somehow melds with that appliness. It's just like, it's such a weird combination. It's just, it fits well together. It's not overly salty. It's the slightest bit savory in a tart kind of way because of the addition of the very slight amount of dry vermouth, but it's appreciable. The dryness that I got is so characteristic of apple skin. It's undeniable. And it's like really, really interesting. One of the things that I really wanted to think about after the whole stream is over, and this is like the last cocktail, so it might be a little while, like I probably won't get those notes on stream here after we end, but to see how the dried apricot changes the flavor of this drink over time. When I was workshopping this, I used a bit of apricot brandy to try to add that flavor apricot after the fact, and it was terrible. I used Jacquin's apricot brandy. It was way too sweet. It was not a good combination, but that dryness and air of apricot, I felt like would go really, really well here. So before I end my notes on this, I'm gonna take a bite of this and see. Oh yeah. I like that very much. That's got notes of it. It's got notes of the Jack. It's got notes of the Brie. I appreciate that. That's our Hugo's Brie Martini for the folks at home. For the folks who want cheese in their cocktails. That's the one. That's the one there. Randall says, by the way, I got some alcohol-free butterscotch beer and want to try it with Jaeger and Scotch and 151 rum. We'll let you know how it goes. Oh, please do. It tastes super strong of malty butterscotch, so I think it'll go well with some of the on-hand stuff. That sounds really cool, actually, Randall. The alcohol-free butterscotch beer, that's like butterbeer, right? That's like the Harry Potter stuff. I want to say that's butterbeer, but it's been a while since I've had like butterbeer from like, let's say Universal Studios. This is like what they wind up marketing down there. It's been a while since that. I actually did make butterbeer once upon a time with just a whole 2.5 sticks of butter, and it was wild, but that stuff tasted pretty good. Oh, that sounds wonderful, actually. Especially with the Jaeger, too. These Jaeger combos. I love the concept of this. This is wonderful. And it honestly gives me reason to take that dusty bottle of Jaeger outside of the closet more. Actually, Anna literally just bought a container of, like, gelato? It was some, like, weird gelato thing. It looks like it had, like, caramel in there. It looks like it has vanilla in there. It looks like it has some chocolate in there. And I kind of want to try that with Jaeger now, and I wonder if there's any left of it. It is butterbeer, but at 200 times stronger. Butterbeer, but 200 times stronger. I like the sound of that. I don't like the... Honestly, I think you can buy like a can of butterbeer soda here in the States. It's not... I wouldn't say that that's good. I don't think it's very, very good, but that's my humble opinion. In any case, that's what we got over here. Trying to click out of my OBS stuff over here. That's just fun. That's just how it is. So that was everything. I think we've covered everything so far. We've gone through every single dad from Dream Daddy, and I'm feeling so hot right now. I can't even believe how hot I feel over here. Oh my gosh. It's that essence of Dream Daddy catching up with me. I also honestly need to train myself to drink more water during the streams. Whew, I'm hot. I'm hot. This was a lot of fun. So, let me do a little bit of cleanup over here, and we'll do a run through of all these cocktails one more time, just to kind of catch up of where we've gone, where we've been. Oh, and see what we get. I'm tired, yo. This was a tiring one. Thank you for letting me do this for y'all. I'm like really tired out from all this. Gosh, and my whole, y'all can't see this table over here that usually has all of the glasses and the measuring equipment and the tools and whatnot. It's like completely empty right now. There is so much stuff that we used, and I really liked this one. This was really cool. This felt like one of those experiences where we really were taking almost everything that we learned over the past like month or so and really putting it all together, and it was really fun. This felt more explorative than anything we did for the Crystal Star drinks for Paper Mario or anything else like that. This is probably the biggest showcase I've had in a while. So this was a lot of fun, and I thank you all for allowing me to share it with y'all. So I'm gonna put these drinks in the order in which we covered them around here. Probably gonna run out of space, honestly, because I have a freaking pineapple. So maybe that doesn't work out very well. Let's move things off of this way. Scooch them over a little bit. Yeah, that works. Randall says, Disney stuff and cheap stuff is very weak. I got this stuff at Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel? Ooh, tastes just like more liquid butterscotch syrup with malt added. That sounds delicious. You know what? You remind me of the fact that there's a Cracker Barrel back near where my parents live, and I have not been there in so long. Cracker Barrel was like the place that we'd go every once in a while for like a family meal or otherwise. And honestly, I was never a big, the food's great. I freaking love that stuff. Yo, Bentorius, welcome everybody. Look at that. We have the sugars. Do we have yeast? I wish I had yeast around here. Welcome in everybody to the bar with an X, creating cocktails inspired by our favorite video games and more. You've caught me towards the end. We've made a number of drinks around here inspired by a little game called Dream Daddy. There are 7 dads to date, and every single one of them got a cocktail associated with them. And as you may have noticed, one of them is served in a pineapple. And I'm about to go through everything that we've covered. Bentorius, how is your stream? We tasting beers tonight? To everybody out there, I was hoping that we'd get a raid eventually to see if the shout-out command works around here automatically. It didn't work, so I'm gonna do this manually because we respect our fellow Twitch tenders, Twitch imbibers, and otherwise around here. Bentorius is wonderful for all of his reviews and I'm losing my words here. Reviews and otherwise walkthroughs of various different types of beers. It's a very fun watch. Randall saying, Cracker Barrel has home-cooked taste at the restaurant. Oh, the biscuits. Oh, the biscuits are great at Cracker Barrel. Let me tell you that. Oh, there's a hype train happening? There's a hype train? This never happened around here. This is so cool. Welcome in, everybody. This is a lot of fun. So, I'm going through the recipes that we've covered so far from our Dream Daddy stream. So, let's go right into it. So, the first cocktail that we created this evening was one called the Pineapple of Hospitality. There's a dad that you can date in Dream Daddy named Brian, and he is very proud of his daughter, and at one point in time, you go to a golf course, and you are able to go to this little tiki bar around here. The tiki bar serves a drink in a pineapple that they set on fire, and it probably has a bunch of rums and stuff in it. So we created a drink based off of that. It is called the Pineapple of Hospitality. It has a collection of different rums in it. It's got some freshly blended pineapple juice, freshly juiced pineapple juice, all served inside of a pineapple here. I see Bentorius sticking around with the sub. Thank you, sir. Very much so. It further supports things around here. There was an initiative earlier of a bunch of people saying we should donate bits specifically so that we could buy a porcelain toilet and make wine in the toilet. And I don't really know where that was coming from, but I'm down for it. I'll take with it. Uncle Clip Clop. Heart for the dreams. We got the Pineapple of Hospitality. We floated it with some 151 rum, up on top, and we quite literally set it on fire, and it was lit with a beautiful blue flame for a little while, and we extinguish it by taking the top of our pineapple and just kind of placing it up on top. It had a nice taste of cherry to it. It is heavy on those cherry notes and those molasses notes that are imparted by the various different types of rum that are in there. 1, a Myer's dark rum, 2, a Pusser's Admiral dark rum, and the 151 Gosling's dark, which really brings the whole thing together with that higher proof note in there. It can be served in a pineapple. It doesn't have to be served in a pineapple, but it's cool when you do so. And that was the first drink that we made this evening, so it's kind of flimsy. It's a little floppy, but I will take it. Bentoria says, I've given you my Jeff Bezos token, but there's no alert that popped up. Oh, yeah, that was the message from earlier. Yeah, you gotta click that. Twitch is weird about that. You have to click the button or whatever to do the announcement. I don't really know why they require. I guess it's so that you can subscribe privately. I guess it's just kind of how that works over there. Randall says, that sounds more like a Brandy thing, but it's made in a tub in the classic tales. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are traditions from all over the world that I'd be happy to explore, given the right circumstances. And so long as that toilet hasn't been used anytime recently, I'm not a fan of that. Silly buttons. So the next drink that we covered, I gotta do my little command over here. I should really add a keybind for this. I haven't done so yet. Another dad we've dated, his name is Robert. Robert is a kind of a shady looking fellow. He doesn't talk so much. He's kind of, whatever the opposite of outspoken is, he's a big fan of whiskey. So Brian's old fashioned is quite literally whiskey on whiskey with a little bit of maple syrup because we all were living in the town of Maple Bay. And it was smoked with some smoked maple wood, utilizing one of our tools that we have around here. I don't see the cocktail. Oh, there we go. It's down here. The cocktail smoker, which we took a little bit of maple wood chips, which still smell very fragrant, and you put a little smoke on top of it. There's a smokiness from the single malt Scotch that is extended with the sweeter components of the blended Scotch whiskey that we also have in there. The smokiness from the single malt is a little overshadowed by the actual smoked maple that goes up on top of it. And the whole thing was rounded out with a little handmade garnish that we made. A little stick-looking thing. That's good stuff. Maple syrup says, Mark, be still Ben's beating heart, my friend. Honestly, the maple syrup that I used probably could have been better. I got this thing from Whole Foods a while ago. I opted for the golden maple syrup here because it's not as robust a flavor as some of the darker stuff that I got from like my brother's place up in Vermont. It blended a lot better with the whiskey in this case because I really didn't want that dark maple syrup to overpower the whiskey. The whiskey had to be the front runner here, and it tasted really, really good when it didn't have literally an entire ice ball's worth of water diluting into it. So it's been sitting for a hot minute because that was the second drink that we covered around here. A sweet smoker. It works pretty well, Ben. It works relatively well. The siphon in it, if it has a kink in it, it doesn't work super well, and the smoke clogs up and stuff, and it's kind of fun to watch, but it's kind of a bitch to use. There are better smokers out there, but this was the one that's the most affordable, and it only runs you about $30, I think, which is fine. That's a fine price point for something like that. It works out well. Randall says, bleach, the non-dilute kind. Bleach. Oh, black. And then pressure steamed can clean anything. Bleach. He was saying bleach. Randall, for a moment I thought you said put bleach in a cocktail. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Hilarious. Hilarious. Beats the $15 smoker with no pump. That's fair. Is that one of the ones that's got like the fan in it? Those ones are weird. I've never actually used one of those. I think I wound up going with this one just because it wound up working over there. It worked out pretty well.
Hello.
Fear Napalm! Welcome in, welcome in. I would do the little whiskey thing where you put it up to your nose and you spin it around a little bit, but I've used all of my Glencairns already, unfortunately. So, I'm sorry. I'll get them next time. The next cocktail that we covered was for Joseph Christiansen. Joseph Christiansen is the local youth pastor in Maple Bay, and being a man of Christian employ with a wonderful family and a wife named Mary, and Craig actually has a daughter named River, so that's very on point there. River's so wide. We'll get to the river. We're getting to the river part. Joseph is a Christian man. Apparently, Jesus Christ was a Jew. Slivovitz was the brandy that we used for this. Slivovitz is a blue plum brandy, or just in general a plum brandy from Clear Creek Distillery. This is where a piece of that river winds up coming into, that we combined in a sort of New York sour template where you take your red wine, which is also a staple in at least the Catholic churches that I've been in, and we float it up on top. The layers were actually a bit more pronounced earlier, but there is still a clear white froth, red wine, and whiskey sour beneath it. It was very, very forward on those notes of plum, some notes of other dark fruit like raspberry and whatnot from the wine, and it's a bit savory, a bit tart, and overall a very nicely balanced sour, if I do say so myself, especially with those plum brandy notes in there. It was very, very exciting. River says, love cocktails and love Dream Daddy. I'm glad that I'm not the only one here. That guy in the meme disturbs me. He wastes good stuff. Waste, Randall. Oh, whoa, hold on, Randall. You're insulting a whiskey expert. When he says, stick your nose in the glass and then toss it out, that's law, my friend. But you don't have to be a law-abiding citizen. I'm not a law-abiding citizen. One day we will distill things here at the Bar with an X, and I'm in full support of that. Although it's technically illegal, I guess. In any case, moving on to the next dad of the evening. The fourth dad that we dated was Matt. I love Matt. Matt was so cool. I loved the coffee drinks. I loved the band references. I loved the whole being able to see an actual Canadian rock band in a video game, who I was able to discover the music for from playing the video game because of their non-copyright song that they decided to add to the game, specifically so streamers such as us can actually use that without getting copyright stricken. Oh, did I also mention that we smoked oregano instead of weed? That was hilarious. So of course, when we were trying to make a drink for Matt, it felt appropriate to add some coffee in there, add some oregano in there, and just kind of see what we'd be able to do with it. Turns out, if you take oregano and put it on a baking sheet inside of a toaster oven for any longer than 15 seconds, it'll set on fire. I only know that because it started smoking and we were approaching the flash point. So I took it out of the toaster oven, put it in some gin for a little while, and created an infused toasted oregano gin that, you guessed it, tastes like oregano, toasted with a hint of char. As it turns out, that hint of char goes really, really well with either espresso or a light cold brew that's mixed together with tonic. As it turns out, it's kind of a love child between an espresso tonic and a gin and tonic, all combined together with the sweetness of, I suppose, the Italian flag. And it's actually very, very good. This was one of my favorite drinks out of this evening because it's just so refreshing and it goes super duper duper well. And aside from getting a little bit of oregano stuck in my throat, it's really, really good. It's nice and smoky, it's coffee forward, it's very, very appreciable. And honestly, I tried it both with my own personal cold brew, which came out a little weak this time around, and with some rapidly infused cold brew that I made in one of my whipped cream whippers, which is currently somewhere at the bottom of a bottle somewhere, because it is filled with coffee, and I need oh, it's on the table over there, because I made a mess with it earlier, so it just wound up working out that way. But it's very, very good. And your mileage may vary depending on what tonic you use, depending on what coffee you use, and technically, I guess, depending on how well or how not so well you treat your oregano. So just keep that in mind. And if you're gonna smoke oregano, be aware of it first before you do so. But distilling personal use is 100% legal. Distilling to sell without a license is illegal. Thank you for the clarification there, Randall. We'll have to see what the WithAnX lawyers say about this. Loixers, so they say. Ben says, that sounds like a happy little accent, to be honest. Honestly, it wound up working out because as soon as I saw the oregano thing, I was like, I gotta put that in a drink. And I was blown away by how well that actually worked out. It was absolutely wonderful. Moving on to the next one. By the way, we spent the last, what was it, 3 hours and 12 minutes building all of these cocktails together as a part of our showcase here. I'll remind anybody who is in here new, what we do here at the Bar with an X is we play through video games, we get a little bit of inspiration from being in the universe with the characters and experiencing the concepts, and then take those things and turn them into craft cocktails like you see here. There were 7 dads in Dream Daddy, so each one of them got a cocktail here, and the next game we'll be playing is Undertale, indicated by our beautiful little sands in the corner over here. But so the next dad that we dated was Damien. Damien is a Victorian era dad. He sports a vest just like I do here. He's a fan of taxidermying butterflies and moths and whatnot. And he also has a beautiful mansion, and he's got a great garden in the back where you can walk through and potentially knock over a gargoyle or two. And his son was the son who sold us the oregano that we thought was weed. And then wind up giving us the beautiful concoction that was Matt's father. By the way, Matt's father is named the father because he would name his drinks after indie bands, and Mother is my favorite Canadian indie rock band, and Mother, Daddy, Father. It just made sense there, so that's what I called it that. I'll actually have this in the wrong order. Damien's Lepidoptera is a flip cocktail, which uses an incredible egg whites, because at some point in time, if you do really, really well, if you get an S rank on one of the dates, he'll say, you really threw the egg on that one, or you really egged on this one, which is apparently a Victorian era phrase for doing a really good job. So it made sense to put an egg yolk in this for a type of flip cocktail. And I combined that together with some creme de violets to make it a little more floral. And it's not the most balanced thing back there, but it has a bitterness that's appreciable. It's got a floralness that is appreciable. The texture is so incredibly creamy, and it goes really, really well together. We garnished it with a bit of crushed up butterfly pea flower, which I'm not sure if you can tell from this angle, has kind of leached into the cocktail and given it a really odd blue-dyed hue to it. Butterfly pea flower is that thing that you see turn things blue and sometimes purple. If you've ever seen Empress Gin or any other purple gin out there, it probably had some butterfly pea flower in it at some point in the process. And we garnished it with a little thing, butterfly that I picked up at the Philadelphia Flower Show the other day because Damien is into butterflies. Specifically, it's called Damien's Lepidoptera because Lepidoptera is the scientific name for, I believe, butterflies and moths. That's the reason behind that. Ben says, Canada? Yes, Canada. I've never been to Canada before, but I really do want to go at some point. And I think technically we'll actually fly to Canada. My dearest and I, we got married back in January. We'll be taking our honeymoon in August in Alaska. And I think we actually have to fly to Canada, or we take off in Canada. I think that's how that works. That's awesome. Randall says, oregano gin plus Bloody Mary plus butterfly pea flower dust could be very interesting too. I would love to see what we could do to a Bloody Mary if we added butterfly pea flower, because you would think with the tomato juice, it would probably be a bit acidic, and it might turn that butterfly pea flower from blue, which means it's a bit more basic in solution, to purple, which is a bit more acidic in solution. I wonder what that would do. I imagine it wouldn't change the color too much, because I think the red from the tomato juice, or the mix, probably overpowers it. But we have combined butterfly pea flower purple with Midori green, and it was still green. So sky's the limit as it pertains to color theory. And Ben says, I did a really stupid thing with pea flower tea one day. I wanted to make a latte with it, but a purple one. Long story short, curdled the froth milk. Well, if you ever curdle anything like that again, Ben, my suggestion would be try to strain it out. There's actually a technique that we use for clarifying cocktails, which involves curdling the milk solution, because the proteins from the milk bind to everything else that sours it. And if you separate them, it actually works out pretty well, which is actually an excellent segue. So actually, let me go to the next cocktail over here. Yeah, I made a cocoon? Did I make a cocoon? Blue Bloody Mary. Epic, though. Did I make a cocoon? Honestly, there are no pupas to be found here. I was gonna say, maybe if you get creative with it. I'm not gonna fess up to that. I'm not gonna do it. I do not. If I admitted to a cocoon, I'd admit to potentially killing a butterfly. No, I guess not really, because they could come out of the cocoon and I could use that after the fact. Follow up with me if I ever say that I made anything with spider silk. But so, would it work in a tea latte though? I don't think I was brave enough that morning. Oh, it could possibly work. I don't know if it would, but I imagine if you use the tea latte, so if you add a little bit if you add like lemon juice and stuff to it, and it curdles, sometimes, depending on your solution, that sourness from the lemon juice will carry through to the clarified thing. But at least for the most part, at least as it was for this cocktail over here, which is Craig's Misshake, I need to find it. Where is it? Where is it? It's around here somewhere. I put it on the ground. Where's my solution? Oh my god. I forgot I made it for y'all. This is protein shake plus lemon juice and a little bit of hazelnut liqueur and a little bit of butterscotch. If you were to strain this out, this is very chunky right now. This might be exactly what you're talking about. All of the sourness is in the curdle. There's only a little bit of sourness that it was actually imparted into the liquid that you would get if you were to strain this thing. And the strained liquid, I think I put back in the refrigerator, unless it's around here somewhere. It's in the refrigerator. We've done 7 cocktails this evening. It's a total mess around here. I apologize. I'm not going to bother going through the mess again. I'm tired and I got a lot of booze in me. But, so Craig's Misshake. Craig is a proteinaceous bro. We went to college with him. He dated a gal named Ashley, had 3 children with her, and then eventually got divorced after a while, mutually, according to the lore of the actual thing itself. But the idea struck me that maybe Keg Stand Craig could potentially mishap making a protein shake for himself. Very like the story, the tragic tale of Bentorius and his butterfly pea flower latte. Craig, once upon a time, in our own internal narrative, decided to take his protein shake, in this case, equate max protein with 30 grams of protein per serving in an 11-ounce container. Combined that with a little bit of butterscotch for his daughter Briar, B, butterscotch, kind of makes sense there. A little bit of hazelnut liqueur for his daughter Hazel. Her name is actually Hazel. It makes sense there. No river in this case, unless you consider the river from the Slivovitz from earlier, which I didn't actually wind up doing, unfortunately. Not for this one. I didn't click with that later on. But river came so late in the process, it curdled. We clarified it. We tried to recover it a little bit by combining it with a little bit of rum because it was a little bit sour, trying to make a sort of daiquiri riff there. And all in all, it wasn't that bad. It tastes very intensely artificial, but those notes of vanilla kind of work out when combined with the rum, oddly enough. I don't really know how this tastes now, and I decided to add a little bit of salt on the rim because electrolytes, bro. And I don't really know how it tastes now. It's not bad. It's like a vanilla daiquiri. If you could say a vanilla daiquiri works, this is kind of a vanilla daiquiri. And it kind of works. It's still very artificial. If I were to do this again, I'd try to make my own protein mix. I'd probably just use straight up milk. I'd make my own vanilla syrup, but I really leaned in on this one. And it actually kind of wound up working out in the end. River says, I feel like if you want a purple latte, you gotta go with the ube or taro. I once had a grimace latte with ube, making it almost as purple as the McDonald's character. River, that's a great idea. I've never been able to successfully source ube, so I've never been able to try it. I probably could get some ube powder around here, but I've never actually tasted it. I've had taro before, but apparently the taro that I bought at the store was not all of the taro comes purple. But I was able to make like a taro powder thing, and that tastes super duper great. And I'm sure if you added the purple to it, it would probably work. But your mileage may vary, of course. Ben says, did you inject the cocktail with steroids too? If I had access to roids, I might. But I just recently, American health is very odd. I just recently had to switch my insurance, so I haven't been to the doctor yet in a couple months. So if I wanted to request my roids, I guess I'm gonna have to tell them tomorrow, because I actually have a doctor's appointment in the morning. And my favorite part about going to my primary care physician is when they're like, do you smoke? I'm like, no, I don't smoke. They're like, do you drink? I go, yeah, I drink. I'm like, how many drinks do you have in a week? I was like 3 to 4 drinks in a week. Like, technically that's alcoholism. I was like, no, you don't understand. I don't drink all the drinks. I sip all the drinks. It's not a problem. It's me getting defensive with the doctor. I'm not an alcoholic, I swear. And if I am, it's only on Wednesdays and sometimes Mondays. We stream here at the bar with the next Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's always a cocktail for every single stream. Tell them you have an electrolyte cocktail. Exactly. I'm just trying to increase the number of electrolytes in my body. I'm getting old, Mid-20s is a rough time to be at. So that was Craig's protein mistake, and I'm trying to get to my keyboard throughout all of this to do the final cocktail of the evening for our final dad, which was Hugo's Brie Martini. Hugo is the teacher. He's the teacher that teaches your daughter Amanda in the game. He teaches Lucian, Damien's child. He teaches Ernest, his own child. I think we're all in high school at this point. I believe so. And so the teacher, being the teacher he is, deserves an apple. At least that was the original idea. When I was originally coming up with this cocktail recipe, I was like, I want to add an apple motif to this. I want to make this apple flavored, but it didn't really work out. Instead, we went the cheese route. We actually took some cheese and combined it with Applejack. Applejack, at least the Laird's, it is this beautiful color of brown. But if you put Brie cheese inside of it, let it sit for a little while, a couple hours at room temperature, and then put it into a freezer and separate the fats from everything else, it clears up, oddly enough. I don't really know why this happens, but I'm guessing it's got something to do with the clarification process that you would see in like milk or cream or other things that we were talking about before. But it imparts a very powerful, salty, cheesy flavor to your Applejack. It felt appropriate if we were to take something like that and a savory characteristic and combine it with a little something different. So we made a little Brie Martini for our pal Hugo. Ben says, been fun, but I gotta head to bed. See you around. I completely understand. Personally, when I wind up going anywhere after these streams, I wind up heading to bed. I lurk a bit. I clean up. It's going to be a big, long cleaning night for me, so I completely understand where you're coming from. Thank you all for popping in. especially Ben and all the other the Ben Raiders. Did the Ben Raiders have names? I think you guys might have said something and shouted something when you came in here, but I completely missed it, interspiced between all the, looked like ice cube emojis. But the Brie Martini, actually it works out kind of well. That subtlety of the dry vermouth, adding a bit of a sour characteristic to the already almost tanginess of a Brie. I don't really know how to describe the taste of Brie, but somehow combined all together, this is actually very pleasant. When I was workshopping this, I thought that maybe a bit of apricot brandy could go well here. It didn't. It did not go well at all. It was way too sweet. It was way too overpowering. So we took a little bit of dried apricot to sit inside of the cocktail to further infuse in it as the cocktail comes up to temperature. And I'm actually glad that I've been talking as long as I had been, because now I can actually taste it and share it with you guys what it tastes like now versus, I don't know, like a half hour ago when I was still making this. Ooh. Ooh. So I'm not tasting a lot of the apricot now, but the applejack, now that everything's come up to temperature, the Brie takes a bit of a back seat. It's very it's very applejack forward. And applejack, for those of you who don't know, is appley in like the vaguest sense of the word. If you were to compare this to, let's say, another cognac or another brandy, this is noticeably tart. It's got a bit of a dryness to it, and ultimately it's kind of malic-y. The malic acid is the main acid that's present in apples, and so you can kind of taste that as you go through this. And of course it's got Brie on the side, and I didn't actually taste the Brie. It's a warm piece of Brie. What can I say? That's very good there. Fear says, ooh, we should come with a name. Benbarians? Or something like that? Dude, take it back with y'all. The Benbarians. We here at WithAnX Studios don't really have a name. We are the party people. You can be whoever you want to be. Put an X in your name somewhere. That's kind of what we are. We're the party people. The people is spelled with an X. So let's say the party Peoxplea. The peopleplex. The party peoplex. But the X is silent. Anyways, I'm getting caught up in my own branding. It's hilarious around here. So that's all I've got, actually, y'all. So I want to say, unfortunately enough, we came towards more or less the end of the stream, but we usually have more things coming up here. So I'll remind everybody at the end that there is some more streams coming up. We're going to go start an Undertale playthrough starting next week on Monday. I need to completely redo my decal over here. So that's going to be what my weekend is filled with, as well as cleaning up these cocktails here. So thank you, everybody, for sticking around until quite literally the bitter end. This was awesome! This is a lot of fun. This is probably the funnest workshopping stream that I've ever had. Or not even workshopping, the funnest showcase stream that I've had in a while. This was a blast. So I want to thank everybody who popped in toward the end, everybody who stuck around to the end here. 7 cocktails for each of the Dream Daddy guys. Here at the Bar with an X, we create cocktails inspired by our favorite video game characters, concepts, items, and otherwise. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is where to find it. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mondays and Wednesdays. Before our playthroughs, there is always a drink. There's a bottle review. We always do something beforehand before we actually jump into the world around us. And I am actually very curious of where our journey with Undertale will take us. Sans quite literally drinks ketchup, and the bartender in that game is a living being of fire. He's a fire elemental named Grillby. And there's also genocide, but there's also pacifism. So the contrast there is striking. I don't really know what that'll take us. But that's a question for Mondays, Cameron. And for Wednesdays, Cameron, he's tired, he's got some cleanup to do, and he's got at least 1 or 2 drinks in him that he's gonna have to report to his primary care physician in the morning. So thank you everybody so much. Goodbye, Cammy C. We'll see you next week. Good night. Fear Palm says we'll workshop it. We do have a workshop for that very reason, so that seems oddly appropriate. To everybody out there, thank you so much for coming along. I'll see you all again on Monday, where we start a whole new kind of adventure. And until then, y'all, if the moon is shining where you are, have a wonderful rest of your night, like it is for me. If the sun is shining and you're on the other side of the world and you're starting your day off with something, might I suggest a Brie Martini? It'll certainly wake you up. It'll confuse you, but it'll also wake you up. Non-Dune, Twilight, wherever it is. Non-Dune? Dawn, noon, Twilight? I think I'm a little drunk, y'all. Doesn't matter what time zone we're in. The party continues next time, y'all. Thanks again for popping into the Bar with an X. Until next time, y'all, I appreciate it. Bye!
Hello. Then you go back to it. How are you? And then you go back to it. Quite well. Thank you very much.